Chapter 767. Actually, it was not that she did not want to stay in her current company. It was because of Liang Jichao. After being in the limelight, Liang Jichao would definitely be unhappy and would think of ways to get rid of her. That was why she said that to Wan Malay. If she left, she might really come back to the capital. Is he Ju back? No. He's taking care of my child in Boiling City. Damn, he knows how to take care of children? So hurry up and give birth. I didn't ask you in detail last time. What's your plan with He Ju? You're not just going to talk about it like this, right? Auntie and uncle didn't rush you? Just as Tang Bao finished asking, Wan Malay's phone rang. Wan Malay looked at Tang Bao helplessly. Look, they're rushing me. She answered the phone. Mom, what's the matter? I told you about your Auntie Zhao's child. Do you take it to heart? Didn't I tell you that I don't need it? Why not? How old are you? The older you are, the harder it is to get married. You're my only daughter. If you keep dragging it out, I won't be able to sleep well at night. Let me think about it, okay? Wan Malay negotiated helplessly. Is 3 days enough? Yes. After Wan Malay hung up the phone, she saw Tang Bao looking at her and said, They arranged blind dates for me. There are 5 or 6 in total, but I haven't met any of them. I don't even dare to go back now. If I go back, I'll find a boyfriend and get married. Sigh. Help. Then you can just tell Auntie that you have a boyfriend. I'm not ready yet. What are you talking about? I remember that He Ju is an orphan. He should be very willing to meet your parents. Work? Although he works for Di Haotian, he's still Di Haotian's secretary. There's nothing to hide. But I'm nervous. Wan Malay blushed. Marriage? Why did she have a feeling that He Ju wasn't even close to her yet, but she was already talking about marriage? Do you think He Ju is a celibate? I won't. Are you sure? Usually, people who don't have a home yearn for the feeling of home. He Ju's personality, of course, he would not reveal it to anyone. This represented a person's weakness. Oftentimes, the fiercer a person was, the more they needed warmth. If he was really the kind of person who didn't care, why didn't he have a girlfriend? He can pick any pretty girl he likes. Wan Malay's mouth twitched. Are you saying that I'm ordinary? I didn't say it. You said it yourself. Wan Malay was very upset at the mention of his marriage. Actually, I don't think I'm that old. I'm not even 25 years old. Other people are still unmarried at 30. What's the hurry? Old people are conservative in their thinking. So you agreed to go on a blind date with Auntie? I said I'll consider it. She said that she can't even sleep. What can I do? I don't want her to be too anxious. Sigh, at most, I'll go on a blind date. When the time comes, I'll just say that we're not suitable. I'll just brush her off for now. Tang Bao thought to himself, it's not that you can't brush her off like this. I just don't know what He Ju's expression will be when he finds out. She really wanted to know. After dinner, the two of them strolled around again. Suddenly, the phone on them rang. Tang Bao looked at it. It was Di Haotian. Is he calling to rush me? Wan Malay could tell from Tang Bao's expression. Tang Bao picked up the phone uncomfortably. What's wrong? You're not done yet. Where are you? Oh, I'll come to you when I'm done. I'll pick you up. No need. That's all. Tang Bao hung up the phone. Wan Malay said, I'm about to go back to the office. Oh yeah, when are you going back? Tomorrow. I can't stay here for too long. I'm worried about the child over there. Although I want to complain about why you didn't bring the child over, I know what you're thinking. So, I won't nag at you. Then I'll thank you. After the two of them separated, Tang Bao did not get into the car directly. Instead, he went to a pharmacy nearby to buy some medicine. It was not unusual for a man to go into a pharmacy to buy birth control pills. More importantly, the pharmacist was a little shocked to see a man standing at the door taking birth control pills. Men also take birth control pills? I've lived long enough to see this. Tang Bao got into the car and went straight to tea. She did not go in. Instead, she stood at the door and sent a message to Di Haotian. When are you going back? Di Haotian did not reply to the message. Instead, he called her. I'm waiting for you to come over. Let's go home together. Go home. Tang Bao was stunned by this word. He quickly came back to his senses. I'm downstairs in tea. Come down. Not long after, Di Haotian's tall figure appeared in front of her. His long legs were steady, and he walked up to her with a strong aura. Why aren't you going up? It's a waste of time if I go up, Tang Bao simply said. Can you leave after coming to tea for a few hours? It's their honor that I'm here. Tang Bao was speechless. She really dared to say that. The dignified leader of tea was acting like an unemployed vagrant. Just as the two of them were about to get into the car, Brother Haotian. Tang Bao's body stiffened. This voice was weak, pitiful, and very familiar. It was Lan Wanru. After recovering from his emotions, Tang Bao turned his head and met Lan Wanru's surprised and hostile gaze. He still looked the same, but he was thinner and more pitiful. However, she could tell that Lan Wanru did not recognize her. But why was he looking at her with hostility? Couldn't he see that she was a man? Let's go. Di Haotian took her hand and did not even look at Lan Wanru. But he's calling you. Tang Bao did not withdraw his hand, but he did not want to leave either. Di Haotian's black eyes looked sharply at Tang Bao. Tang Bao looked at him innocently. Lan Wanru looked at the hand that he was holding. His face turned pale, and he was on the verge of collapsing. Brother Haotian, I've been waiting for you here. I heard that you were back, so I couldn't wait to see you. Lan Wanru took a few steps forward and looked at Tang Bao. He deliberately asked, Brother Haotian, is this your friend? I don't think I've seen him before. I'm not his friend. Before Di Haotian could say anything, Tang Bao spoke first. Then you are? Lan Wanru asked, but her voice was trembling because she did not dare to believe such a ridiculous thing. Watch carefully. Tang Bao smiled at her elegantly, then turned around. He hooked his arms around Di Haotian's neck and kissed Di Haotian's thin lip. The soft touch made Di Haotian's eyes darken. He reached out and wrapped his arms around Tang Bao's waist and deepened the kiss. It was not just a superficial kiss but a deeper one. Chapter 768. She staggered backward from the blow. Her face was ashen, and tears fell from her eyes. She lost her balance and fell to the ground. However, she could not feel any physical pain, only a heart-wrenching pain. She could not look, but her eyes were fixed on the scene of Di Haotian and Tang Bao kissing. Di Haotian was not forced. He did not feel disgusted at all. Instead, he hugged the person in his arms so tightly and took the initiative to kiss the person in his arms. He was so selfless that he did not even acknowledge her existence. Why was it like this? The truth that Di Ju Bai told her was not even 1,000th of the pain that he was inflicting on her. She did not believe it. She did not believe it. Di Haotian did not like men at all. Tang Bao struggled to push Di Haotian away. His face was red and he was panting. He glared fiercely at Di Haotian with his misty eyes. Di Haotian felt that there was no strength in his actions. Instead, it was very cute. If it were not for the fact that this place did not allow it, he would have gone even further. Tang Bao calmed his breathing and broke away from Di Haotian's embrace. He looked at Lan Wanru and said in a low voice with surprise, "Ah, why did you fall? Is the road not flat enough? My dear, this is your fault. Such a big tea can't even make the road flat?" He had caused the beauty to fall. "Why don't I give you a hand? I have a heart of compassion, unlike my dear, who has a heart of stone and is repulsed by women." Lan Wanru felt that her chest was so stuffy that she was about to die from the way she was addressed. Seeing that Tang Bao was really going to touch her, she angrily flung his hand away. "Don't pretend here." Then she saw Di Haotian's cold expression. "Why, can't I even reject this man's hypocrisy? Is he that important to you?" He's just a man. Are you crazy? However, she did not dare to say these words. She never dared to go against Di Haotian. She had been trying to please him since she was young, hoping that he would like her and fall in love with her. But now, he couldn't even compare to a man who had appeared not long ago? Lan Wanru forced herself to stand up from the ground. Her expression and words showed that she was trying hard to suppress her emotions. She looked at Tang Bao and said, "Do you think that I will believe your frivolous actions? The only person Brother Haotian loved in his life was his wife, Tang Bao. Who are you? Are you mistaken?" Tang Bao was a little dumbfounded. What was wrong with Lan Wanru? In order to deal with a man, she actually said such words. Could it be that she had provoked him to the point that he had lost his mind? Tang Bao looked back at Di Haotian strangely, only to find that Di Haotian was looking at her. His eyes were deep and bottomless, as if there was an undercurrent in them. "I'm not mistaken. What I said is true. If you don't believe me, you can ask around. Brother Haotian only has his wife in his heart. Don't you think it's ridiculous that you're behaving like this?" Lan Wanru did say that on purpose to disgust this man. Why was it a man who stayed by Di Haotian's side? She could not accept it. She could not accept it. It would have been fine if it was a woman, but what right did this man have to compare himself to her? Just because he had a face that resembled Tang Bao's? Tang Bao said nonchalantly, "It doesn't matter. He has his wife in his heart. That's his business. What does it have to do with me?" "You don't care?" "Why should I care? You're really funny." "That's right. Your motive isn't simple. You're doing this for Brother Haotian's money and status. For these, you can lie under a man. How shameless!" Lan Wanru's words started to become sharp. If that was the case, Tang Bao did not need to be angry. After all, she was not the man she was talking about. It was just that she was not happy to hear Lan Wanru say that. She could not help but retort, "I'm doing this for his money and status? That's right. You're absolutely right. My darling knows that he doesn't care. Moreover, looking at how arrogant you are, you must like my darling too, right? It's a pity that he'd rather have a man than you. Don't you think it's very sad? If I were you, I'd just hide at home and not even leave the house." After Tang Bao finished speaking, he sneered and turned to get into the car. Lan Wanru was so humiliated by Tang Bao's words that she could not speak for a long time. When she came back to her senses, Tang Bao and Di Haotian had already gotten into the car and the car had already driven away. She was left standing there alone in a daze. Tang Bao sat in the car and looked at the scenery outside the car window that kept retreating. His face was expressionless. Di Haotian sat beside her. Looking at her expressionless face, he asked, "Why are you unhappy?" She couldn't even say a word because of what you said. "If you can't bear to part with her, you can scold me right now," Tang Bao said indifferently and did not look at him. However, she felt a grip on her jaw and her face was turned away. She was faced with Di Haotian's chiseled face. His features were so handsome that they were cold and arrogant. They were extremely threatening. "Do you think I can't bear to part with her?" Di Haotian's expression was a little cold. "How would I know? You know very well whether you can bear to part with her or not." Tang Bao wanted to break free from Di Haotian's control, but the grip on her jaw was too strong. When she tried to move, he exerted more force. She was so angry that she glared at him. "Bao, what happened in the past was caused by my amnesia. I will use the rest of my life to prove that I only have you in my eyes and in my heart." Tang Bao met his deep, dark eyes. Her frustrated heart thumped slightly. "Why did I hear that Gu Linshan sent you many women in the past 3 years? Why are you not satisfied with them? I don't even know what they look like. Actually, Luo Luoli wouldn't have been locked up by me for so long. It was Gu Linshan who acted on his own initiative that I kept her locked up." Tang Bao was stunned. If Gu Linshan knew that he was the one who caused Luo Luoli to be locked up for 3 years, would he even have the heart to kill himself? Just as she was in a daze, Di Haotian kissed her on the lips. She came back to her senses and frowned as she pushed his face away. Aren't you too bad? Tang Bao couldn't help but ask. It was as if this was the first time she had seen Di Haotian as a devil. She couldn't believe it. I don't think so, Tang Bao thought to herself. Yes, a bad person would never think that they were bad. They would even take it for granted. She just felt sorry for Luoluoli. She had been harmed by these two men. Are you jealous? Di Haotian asked in a low and hoarse voice. His dark eyes were unrestrained. What? Jealous? Are you kidding me? Tang Bao's first reaction was to find it ridiculous. Jealous of you? This is simply the world's. Before Tang Bao could finish her words, Di Haotian's thin lips sealed her words tightly. Tang Bao's face turned red. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't break free from Di Haotian's forceful kiss. In the end, he kissed her until she was gasping for breath before letting go. Chapter 769. She only felt that this person was too shameless. He didn't even let her finish her sentence. She wanted to say that it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. How could she be jealous? What she said was so right that she couldn't even find a single flaw in it. Tang Bao entered the hall. He didn't want to bother with Di Haotian and wanted to go somewhere else alone. However, his waist tightened and he fell to the side. Di Haotian pulled him onto the sofa and he sat on his lap. What are you doing? Tang Bao was unhappy. There were maids elsewhere. I'm a man now. Can you not scare others? Then they should train their courage more, Di Haotian said domineeringly. It's true that I can train my courage in the castle because I'm much braver than before. Tang Bao snorted coldly. But I don't want to be hugged by you like this. Then how do you want to hug me? Do you want to hug me in the room? Tang Bao's eyes flashed and he said, I want to see what delicious food is being cooked in the kitchen. It's all your favorite food. I want to take a look. Let go. Di Haotian looked at her with a deep and doting gaze and then let go. Tang Bao immediately stood up, left the hall, and went to the kitchen. Only Zhang Li was inside. He was instructing the maid to do something and staring at the chef's menu. However, from his expression, it could be seen that he was very unhappy. The maid asked, Deputy Manager, I think it's strange. Isn't this menu young madam's favorite food when she was around? Why is he making it now? Zhang Li also wanted to know the reason for this. Could it be to make that man more like young madam? Was that why he wanted them to change the dishes according to the previous dishes? No wonder she felt that the man's behavior sometimes did indeed resemble young madam. The young master was really too affectionate. However, it shouldn't be so deep, right? A substitute would always be a substitute. The key was that the other party was a man. The young emperor had always been wise and far-sighted. How did he become so muddle-headed? Tang Bao walked over quietly and called out from behind, Zhang Li? Oh my God! Zhang Li, who had been absent-minded, was shocked and took a few steps back. When he saw who it was, his expression immediately turned ugly. Tang Bao acted as if he did not know that he had scared someone and asked, What's wrong? You don't look happy. If you're unhappy, just say it. How would I know if you don't tell me? I'll know once you tell me. Why don't you tell me now? Let me know. Zhang Li felt that this person was really long-winded. Since you asked me to say it, I'll say it. I'm not afraid of you. You scared me just now. Also, the kitchen is an important place. Please don't wander around and cause inconvenience to our work. Thank you for your cooperation. What if I insist on wandering around the kitchen? Besides, I feel like you guys aren't very friendly to me. What if you put poison in the food? Tang Bao had a worried look on his face. Zhang Li's expression immediately changed. It was already very good of them to cook for you, yet you still wanted to be picky and accuse them wrongly. This was simply outrageous. If you're so afraid, then leave the castle. Who cares about you being here? Tang Bao was having a hard time holding it in. She really wanted to laugh. She had known Zhongli for so long, but she had never seen him so angry before. She cleared her throat. Of course there are people who care. Your young emperor cares about it. You're shameless. In our hearts, we only recognize the young madam. You're nothing. What's so great about your young madam? I think she's very ordinary. Tang Bao touched his chin and thought about his appearance. Zhang Li's expression changed, and he was so angry that he was trembling. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? How can you compare to my young madam? I didn't say that I wanted to compare myself to your young madam. I'm a man and I'm magnanimous. I won't compare myself to an insignificant woman. Zhang Li was so angry that her breathing quickened and her chest heaved up and down. She was so angry that she couldn't speak. What's wrong? Lian walked in. Tang Bao saw that Lian had come and stopped his prank. Before he left the kitchen, he added, I still want to eat bird's nest soup. Don't forget. After saying that, he slipped away. Meanwhile, Zhang Li was already fuming with anger. Lian frowned and pulled her. Calm down. How can I calm down? Didn't you hear how arrogant that man was? Even Lan Wanru wasn't as arrogant as him. If you don't believe me, the others heard it too. You can ask them. Zhang Li was extremely agitated. Lian glanced at the others and pulled her out. He said, no matter what he said, he's still a guest brought by the young master. It's not our place to be emotional. Haven't you learned it yet? But he was slandering young madam just now. What he said was very unpleasant. If it's true, such an arrogant person will cause trouble one day. Have you forgotten the two maids from before? Zhang Li couldn't help but calm down after hearing Lian's word. Yes, if this man was so arrogant and the young master found out about it, he would be dead meat. If she made a scene with him now and the young master found out, he would definitely say that she was at fault. Have you calmed down? Zhang Li was a little embarrassed. I was also angered by that man. Lian's words made sense. Zhang Li also felt that this was the case. After all, no one could slander Tang Bao. Even if they said something bad, it would be touching Di Haotian's reverse scale. She was just waiting for that man to be unlucky. However, when they were at the dinner table, whose taste is this dish? It's really disgusting. I don't know what taste it is. Tang Bao frowned and looked like he couldn't swallow it. That dish was Tang Bao's favorite in the past. She could finish the entire plate. Not to mention Di Haotian, she wished that everyone in the castle knew about it, let alone Lian and Zhang Li. They suddenly felt that their opportunity had come. This man was simply courting death by saying that. However, when they thought that the man would be executed on the spot, nothing happened. The atmosphere in the dining room didn't change, and they continued eating normally. Di Haotian even raised his hand and wiped the oil stains from the corner of Tang Bao's mouth without fear of getting dirty. He asked indulgently, "Then what do you want to eat? I'll get someone to make it now." "No, I'll just make do with it." Tang Bao looked aggrieved. Lian felt that this was very strange. Could it be that this man had changed the young master? How could he believe that the young master was so captivated by a man that he had forgotten his important wife? Zhang Li was also dumbfounded. He couldn't accept it at all. Chapter 770. Why? Zhang Li was impulsive and blurted out, "Young master, have you forgotten about young madam? Young madam is the most important woman to you." Lian wanted to stop Zhang Li, but it was too late. He lowered his head in fear. "Young master, it's my fault for not managing her properly. Zhang Li, she was just impulsive. Please forgive her." Di Haotian looked up at the two of them and didn't argue. "You may leave." "Yes." Lian directly dragged Zhang Li out. Zhang Li didn't want to go out. She struggled the entire way. Di Haotian looked over and saw Tang Bao's face buried in the bowl, her shoulders trembling non-stop. After a long while, she stopped laughing. She raised her flushed face and her watery eyes were rippling beautifully. "Did I go too far?" Tang Bao asked. "No, as long as you're happy. Di Haotian said dotingly. Obviously, as long as Tang Bao was happy, it was good to build it on other people's pain. At night, Tang Bao naturally slept in Di Haotian's room. She had slept there for 2 nights. After she wanted to sleep in the room next door the first night but was rejected by Di Haotian, she stopped struggling this time. Anyway, struggling was futile. When Zhang Li passed by the door, she glared fiercely at the door. Then, she went to look for Li En angrily. That man is sleeping in young master's room again. I know. What's going on with young master? Don't tell me he likes men now and doesn't like women anymore? If young master really wants to find someone to comfort him, I'd rather it be a woman. I feel that I've let young madam down. I actually went to serve such a thick-skinned person. Zhang Li was very discouraged. Even if young master brought back someone who was neither a man nor a woman, you don't have to be angry. Young madam is no longer around, this can't be helped. Zhang Li sat on the chair in low spirits. If it weren't for the fact that I still want to take care of the 2 little masters in the future, I really don't want to do this. Li En looked at her discouraged expression and went to the side to pour her a cup of yogurt and honey pomelo juice and handed it to her. Zhang Li was stunned for a moment before taking it. How did you know I like this? We work together, so it's normal to know. But we can't eat the things in the castle. Zhang Li was a little worried. If people knew that Li En did this, it would be a big problem. He was the supervisor. I happened to see it when I went out, so I bought it. Zhang Li heaved a sigh of relief. Oh, I see. Supervisor, you're such a nice person. Li En pursed his lips and didn't say anything. He turned around and walked away. The next day, Tang Bao came downstairs, yawning. When he bumped into Zhang Li, he was about to say good morning, but Zhang Li snorted and turned around to leave. Tang Bao smiled. She didn't expect him to be so loyal to her. She had been living here for a few days, but he still didn't give her a good attitude. Why are you awake so early? I'm going to bring you breakfast, Di Haotian said as he came out of the study room. Zhang Li, who hadn't gone far, heard this and was even more resentful of Tang Bao. She actually wanted young Master Di to bring her food? This kind of treatment had always been given to young madam, right? Now, not only was she living in the room that belonged to young madam, she was sleeping in her bed, sleeping with her husband. In the end, was she going to take over her children? What should she do? Aren't you going back today? Tang Bao asked. There's no hurry. I'll leave in the afternoon. Anyway, I'm already awake. I can't sleep anymore. You can't sleep when I'm not around. Di Haotian approached her and stared into her clear eyes. You're thinking too much. Tang Bao turned around and walked into the dining room. Di Haotian smiled and followed him. Zhang Li heard every single word that was said. He was leaving today? This man was leaving? That was great. She finally didn't have to see him and be in a bad mood. Di Haotian hadn't eaten breakfast either, so he was eating with Tang Bao. Di Haotian, you don't have to send me back. I can go back by myself, Tang Bao said. I've said it before. I'll go wherever you go. You're still going? Tang Bao glared at him. Yes. Tang Bao had a headache. He looked at Di Haotian's calm and cold face and said, You don't have to go there every day. You can go there when you want to. You can go there when you want to. I want to go there every day. Didn't I say that I'll come back? Why are you still going there? You'll be tired if you go back and forth every day. Then I'll come back once every 3 days? You'll stay here. You can go there when I'm unhappy. What do you think? Tang Bao was ready to negotiate with him. Di Haotian put down his chopsticks and pushed his plate forward. He stretched out his long arm and pulled Tang Bao into his arms. He was domineering and strong. Come back once every 3 days? It's only 3 days. It won't be long. This man couldn't even wait for 3 days, right? This made things very difficult for her. Bao, I can't bear to be separated from you. Di Haotian buried his face in Tang Bao's neck and stuck close to her. He tightened his grip on her waist and refused to let go. In the end, Di Haotian also went to Zhenqing and came back once every 3 days. This was not what Tang Bao wanted. However, Di Haotian was extremely strong and would not change his mind. In the end, Tang Bao had nothing to say. Because he was leaving today, Di Haotian went to tea. Tang Bao sat alone in the living room and watched TV. He couldn't really get into the TV. Thinking that he was leaving, he found an excuse to talk to Zhang Li. Zhang Li, pour me a glass of juice. Tang Bao raised one hand. Zhang Li didn't want to pour it for him, but Lian gave her a look. She had no choice but to pour it for him angrily. Then, she had to obediently hand it to Tang Bao. Zhang Li noticed his hand and thought to himself, he's obviously a man, but his hand is like a woman's. No wonder he's with a man. He's an abnormal man. Whether it was on the inside or on the outside. Tang Bao took a sip. He frowned. Zhang Li sneered. Is it sour? This is the juice you want to drink. It's really delicious. I've never drunk such delicious juice. After Tang Bao swallowed it, he endured the numbness on his scalp and gritted his teeth as he praised. Zhang Li couldn't believe that he actually said it was delicious. Could it be that he didn't add enough lemon juice? Or was this man coincidentally not afraid of sourness? I'm going back to Zhenqing today. Although I've only been with you for a few days, I don't know why, but I feel very reluctant to leave. I feel that I already have feelings for this place. Tang Bao's sad expression stunned Zhang Li. He had never seen such a thick-skinned person. You must not have feelings for this place. It's best if you don't come back after you leave. No one here welcomes you except for the young master. Aren't you afraid that we'll poison you? I won't, but maybe someone else will. It's better if you don't come, Zhang Li said disdainfully. Chapter 771. What? Don't go overboard. Are you unhappy? I thought you would be very touched? Tang Bao asked, puzzled. Why should I be touched? It's best if you leave this place as soon as possible. I don't want to see you again. Also, don't be too proud. The young emperor will definitely abandon you, Zhang Li said agitatedly. Before Tang Bao could say anything, Lian walked over. Lian naturally noticed that something was wrong. Zhang Li's face was filled with anger while Tang Bao's face was filled with joy. Mr. Tang, I'm sorry. Please forgive me if I offended you, Lian said politely. It's okay, I don't mind. In fact, I think she's very cute. Think about it, isn't she treating me like this because she's too loyal to her young madam? This is a person's virtue, and I admire it very much, Tang Bao said with a grin. Then, he looked at Lian and Zhang Li and asked, Zhang Li, do you owe Lian money and haven't paid it back? Zhang Li was stunned and said instinctively, I've already changed some, but there's still some that I haven't paid back. No, how did you know? She borrowed money from Lian. How did an outsider know? I could tell. Look, isn't Lian's face as if he owes him money? I didn't borrow money from him, so isn't it you who borrowed it? Zhang Li really turned to look at Lian. Was that the case? Why couldn't she tell? Could it be that the onlooker sees more clearly? Lian's expression was a little stiff. Mr. Tang, if there's nothing else, we'll go down. With that said, he gestured to Zhang Li and the two of them went down. Once they reached the corner, Zhang Li said, Supervisor, are you in a hurry now? I got my salary this month, so I'll pay it all back to you. You insisted that you only needed 1/3 of it. Indeed, when will I be able to pay it back? So far, I've only paid 150,000. Lian turned to look at her without saying anything. What happened? I can only say that you're very gullible. Just stay in the castle from now on. If you go out, you won't even know if you've been sold. Zhang Li was speechless. Tang Bao was in such a good mood that he forgot the taste of the juice in his hand and took another sip. This time, his entire face was squeezed together. He was really heavy-handed. It was so sour that she was drooling. At this moment, someone walked into the hall. Tang Bao looked up and was instantly stunned. Yu Songhuan walked in elegantly, followed by Auntie Wang. It was as if the Empress Dowager had arrived. This somewhat affected the peaceful atmosphere. Lien stepped forward. "Old madam, you're here." Yu Songhuan saw Tang Bao sitting in the hall. Naturally, she did not recognize him. He was a man who had seduced her son. "Where's Haotian?" "The young master went to tea. He should be back soon," Lien said. Yu Songhuan did not ask any more questions. He walked to the sofa and sat down. Tang Bao did not show any signs of nervousness or strangeness. All her emotions were suppressed in the bottom of her heart. It made her sigh a little. It had only been 3 years since they last met. Other than the fact that there was no change in his temperament, his appearance seemed to have aged 10 years. "You're Tang Guo." Yu Songhuan did not like this person who did not even greet him at first sight. "Yes." "Hello," Tang Bao said. "I'm Di Haotian's mother. I just don't know how you are related to Haotian?" Although Yu Songhuan was not deliberately making things difficult, he was definitely not being polite either. "Me? Friend." Tang Bao did not want to say what she said to Lan Wanru to Yu Songhuan. She did not want to faint from anger. "Friend? What kind of friend?" "It's just chatting and eating when we're lonely." Before Yu Songhuan came, he had already mentally prepared himself not to do anything in the castle that would make Di Haotian unhappy. Therefore, when she wanted to continue the conversation and ask if he was also sleeping, she was stunned. Yu Songhuan calmed down and asked Lien, who was beside him, "How is the young master's sleep now? How many times has the psychiatrist come?" "Old madam, the young master doesn't need a psychiatrist now." "Then can he sleep?" Yu Songhuan was stunned. "Yes, the young master can sleep on his own." Yu Songhuan's gaze could not help but fall on Tang Bao's face. He thought to himself, could it be because of him that Haotian's insomnia was cured? Did his existence really make such a big difference? This made her very uncomfortable, because this represented the position this man had in Di Haotian's heart. If this was the case, if she agreed to their relationship, wouldn't it be out of control? Would Di Haotian marry this man directly? It wasn't that Yu Songhuan wanted to think this way, but she was really afraid. She was afraid that her son would marry another man. When the time came, she wouldn't be able to stop Di Haotian. However, even if she didn't agree, what would happen would still happen. It was better to get closer to him for the time being and think about how to get rid of this Tango. Did he think that just because his surname was Tang, he could replace Tang Bao? During this silence, Di Haotian returned. When he walked into the hall and saw Yu Songhuan, he was expressionless and didn't even call out to her. He only looked at Tang Bao. Yu Songhuan felt terrible, but he still questioned, "Do you not even want to acknowledge me? You're thinking too much. You're angry at me because of Tang Bao. Do you think I don't know?" Yu Songhuan said sadly, "My son has grown up, and I can't control him anymore. I won't object to anything you want to do, even if you want to be with a man, I won't care. I just want to see my grandson." Tang Bao was very surprised. What was Yu Songhuan thinking? He actually agreed to let his son be with a man? He didn't accept the previous Tang Bao, and now he accepted a man? Tang Bao wasn't very clear about this logic. "They're not here," Di Haotian said. "Then I can go and see them," Yu Songhuan quickly said. "No need. The Tang Bao matter hasn't been resolved yet. It's not suitable for you to see them," Di Haotian refused. Yu Songhuan didn't understand the meaning behind Di Haotian's words and couldn't help but feel a little angry. "How do you want to resolve it? It's been 3 years and you still want to do this? Right now, your focus should be on the Emperor family and your children. What good will it do you to dwell on the past? You have children yourself, so you should be able to understand what it's like to be a parent without a choice." Tang Bao even resonated with the last sentence. This was indeed how it was for one's own children. There were also many times when they had no choice. If the 2 babies found out that she was mommy and not daddy in the future, would they be angry? She had to think of a good way to resolve this, There was a good saying, once you tell a lie, you will always live with the lie, and in the end, you will still be in danger of being exposed. Chapter 772. What he meant was that he didn't want to say anything more. Yu Song-hwan was helpless and sad. Can't you forgive me for what happened with Tang Bao? I did it for your own good. Di Haotian looked at Tang Bao. Is there anything else you haven't taken? I'm leaving. Tang Bao was stunned. He stood up and was about to leave when he stopped and turned to Di Haotian. There's no overnight feud between mother and son. Just forgive her. Di Haotian's dark eyes turned cold with a hint of danger. Tang Bao rubbed his nose and left. Yu Song-hwan wondered why this man was speaking up for her. He must be trying to curry favor with her to enter the Di family. You're leaving now? When are you coming back next time? Yu Song-hwan was really afraid that Di Haotian would stay for a long time before returning to Di City. You can't be so careless with tea. Grandpa let me inherit because he trusted me. What he meant was that Yu Song-hwan didn't trust his ability. That's not what I meant. Forget it, do as you wish. But I don't understand. Why do you have to stay in Boiling City? Isn't D City much better than Boiling City? I can help take care of the children too. Isn't it inconvenient for you to stay in Boiling City? Don't tell me you're doing this for that man? Yes. Di Haotian didn't hesitate at all. Yu Song-hwan's expression changed. He suppressed his anger and said, You can ask that man to come here. He doesn't like it. Di Haotian left the hall and went upstairs. Yu Song-hwan's expression and mood were obvious. It was as if his heart was being stabbed. She had already forced herself to say those words, but Di Haotian still had to say those words. It seemed that even after 3 years, Di Haotian was still unwilling to forgive her. In the room, since the Tang Bao had nothing to pack, he must have asked her to come to his room to separate her from Yu Song-hwan. The door was pushed open and Di Haotian's tall figure walked in. Seeing that Tang Bao was in a daze, Di Haotian approached her and his thick figure enveloped her. What are you thinking about? I didn't have anything to pack, so I went into a daze, Tang Bao said as he stared at Di Haotian's face. Are you done talking? Yes. I'm fine now. Don't treat her like this because of me. Tang Bao did not think that she was a considerate woman. Besides, she didn't do anything. She's just bringing me for a paternity test. She's also afraid that the child in my stomach isn't the D family's bloodline. For a wealthy family like yours, it's only right to be careful. Otherwise, won't our vast territory be taken away by others? You're still in the mood to joke. Di Haotian looked at her coldly. I'm not joking. I just didn't want to make the atmosphere so serious, Tang Bao said innocently. Anyway, I'm still alive and well now. It's not like I'm dead. MMPH. Her mouth was directly blocked and bitten, causing her to groan in pain. Di Haotian then let go of her and warned, Don't talk about death. You can talk about death if you talk about it. Tang Bao was bitten again. Was this person addicted to biting her? Tang Bao was not to be outdone. She was so angry that she bit back. Not only did Di Haotian not back down, but he also helped the evildoer. This devil. Di Haotian kissed her intimately. Tang Bao lost her balance and sat on the armrest of the sofa. She was forced to raise her face and kiss Di Haotian non-stop. Just as she was being kissed until she was out of breath, something was stuffed into her hand. Di Haotian let go of her mouth at the same time. Tang Bao's face was flushed. Her watery eyes flashed and her breathing quickened. She lowered her head slightly and saw the thing in her hand. It was a little wolf dog. Why did he give it to her again? This time, Tang Bao did not throw it out like a hot potato. Instead, she stared at it in a daze. At this moment the air seemed to have stopped. There was a strong pressure on her heart. Tang Bao lowered her head and could not see her expression. She only asked, Aren't you afraid that I'll throw it away again? I can pick it up. Di Haotian did not seem to mind her throwing it away again. Tang Bao did not know whether to laugh or not. In any case, she did not throw it away. Forget it, I'll keep it. I'll throw it away the next time I get angry. As she said this, she stood up and was a little embarrassed to turn around and go back to the bedroom. However, Di Haotian suddenly pulled her into his arms. Tang Bao bumped into his chest muscles. She felt the firm muscles and the inescapable heat that kept drilling into her body. It was so hot that she was in a daze. Bao, I won't give you a chance to throw it away again. Di Haotian's arms were so tight that they were still tightening. Tang Bao felt that she was about to be crushed by him. Did her acceptance and non-resistance mean that she had forgiven Di Haotian? Yes, she felt that she had let him off too easily. Luo Luoli fell sick after she returned home. The fever only subsided after 2 days. Gu Linshan had been taking care of her all this time. Now, he was even sitting by the bed and feeding her. To be honest, he had never served anyone in his life. He was unfamiliar with it, but he had learned most of it. He even felt that it was a good feeling. Especially when he saw Luo Luoli's cherry lips move and swallow the food, Gu Linshan's eyes deepened. I can't eat anymore. Luo Luoli looked at Gu Linshan weakly. Eat later. Gu Linshan handed the bowl to the servant and left. Little uncle, am I not fit to live under the sun anymore? How did I fall sick? Luo Luoli asked worriedly. Gu Linshan's expression immediately became gloomy. Are you saying that you can't even get under the sun in the castle? As he asked this, his mind was already plotting how to blow up Di Haotian's castle. No, I'm just using a metaphor. It's like a tiger that has been locked up in a cage all day. Suddenly, it doesn't know how to survive in the forest, Luo Luoli said. You're not a tiger. You're a kitten. Gu Linshan looked at her deeply. A kitten can also be lethal. Yes, when you're better, let me see how lethal you can be. Now sleep. Gu Linshan moved her to lie down. Luo Luoli blinked and looked at Gu Linshan. Little uncle, you're better than my mother. When I was sick, even my mother wasn't as exaggerated as you. Are you complimenting me? Gu Linshan's hand landed on her forehead. He touched it intimately and also to check her temperature. Do you hate me for not saving you? I don't hate you. There must be a reason why you didn't save me. I can understand that. But little uncle, don't hurt the Tang Bao in the future. I think young Master D cares a lot about her. Gu Linshan's face darkened. He really couldn't. It was as if he was dead. Luo Luoli saw that Gu Linshan wasn't speaking and asked, Is it very difficult? Do you still like the Tang Bao? If you really like her, you shouldn't hurt her. When did I say that I liked her? I didn't hurt her. Gu Linshan gritted his teeth. Chapter 773. That's because when Di Haotian lost his memory, I misled him. I told him that he was forced to marry Tang Bao and that he liked another woman. What? Little uncle, how could you do that? You're so mean. Luo Luoli was furious. She turned her back to him and said, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm going to sleep. If Gu Linshan had known that Di Haotian would hurt Luo Luoli like this, he would not have done that even if he had to kill him. When a person has a weakness, they don't know how to survive. They only want to protect the people they care about. That's already the greatest achievement. It won't happen again. Don't be angry. I will be angry. Luo Luoli's eyes were closed. Then, she did not hear Gu Linshan's voice. She did not even hear him move. Did he leave? She opened her eyes and turned around. Suddenly, a shadow covered her face. Her mouth was kissed. She was so shocked that she even forgot to blink. Gu Linshan held her down firmly. He was so engrossed that he forgot to leave. Luo Luoli was obviously out of breath. Her head, which was already uncomfortable, became even dizzier. Gu Linshan let go of her, but he did not leave her mouth. He gave her a chance to breathe, but he did not move. Are you still angry? If you're angry, I'll continue to kiss you until you're not angry anymore. Luo Luoli only felt her lips tickle when he spoke against her lip. Her face turned even redder than when she was feverish. It was healthy and shy. How could he speak against her lips? It was so strange. She could not control her heartbeat. Why aren't you talking? Lualuali would never speak like that. She reached out and pushed him away slightly. Only then did she feel that there was more air around her nose. Only then can we talk normally. Is this how you coax me when I'm angry? It's useless. Really? Then I'll try. Gu Linshan lowered his face to kiss her again. Ah no, girl, this is how you coax a little girl. I'm not a little girl anymore. I didn't even finish college. Lualuali said with some grievance. Do you want to continue your studies at university? Gu Linshan asked. I do, but am I too old? Lualuali was worried. No, you're still the same as before. Nothing has changed. Is this how you coax a little girl? He's coaxing his wife. Lualuali almost forgot that she was this person's wife. Gu Linshan hadn't forgotten? This was different from what she had imagined. She thought that since Gu Linshan had not appeared for 3 years, he must have found another woman. Otherwise, Lin Xiangding could do it too. What are you thinking about? Gu Linshan asked as he pinched her little nose. Little uncle, do you want to divorce me? Gu Linshan frowned. His expression was a little frightening. You want to? Do you dare to say it? I won't spare you even when you're sick. No, I just find it strange. What's strange? I've been gone for 3 years. Haven't you thought of divorcing me and finding a new wife or something? Lualuali asked doubtfully. So, it's useless to think of escaping me by going to another university. Do you understand? Don't you feel lonely? Lualuali asked. Yes, I do feel lonely. When you're better, I'll lock you in the room and comfort you. Lualuali felt her eyes glaze over and her whole body stiffen. Was Gu Linshan sure that he meant the same thing as she did when he said loneliness? She felt that it was definitely not the case. Little uncle, I'd better go to sleep. Lualuali stuttered. Not only did Gu Linshan not want to divorce her, but he also wanted her to comfort her loneliness? Could she refuse? At this moment, she missed her mother very much. Little uncle, when can I see my mother? Get better. Lualuali turned over and pulled her leg out of danger. She closed her eyes and yawned. Sleepiness overwhelmed her. She'd better go to sleep. When Lualuali woke up, she saw someone sitting on the edge of the bed. When the confusion in her eyes faded, she saw who it was. She was very surprised. Mom? Luali, you're awake? Did I wake you up? Luo Meijuan's voice was soft, for fear of startling her. Mom, why are you here? Lualuali was a little confused. Linshan called me and said that you're back. He said that you've caught a cold. I was worried about you, so I hurried over to see you. Why did you have to go abroad when you're studying well in China? Look at you. You've lost a lot of weight after going abroad. You're deliberately making my heart ache. Just how much did he suffer? Lualuali hadn't seen her mother for 3 years. When she heard her mother say these things, she felt a lump in her throat and tears welled up in her eyes. She hugged her mother. Mom, I missed you. I really missed you. I thought you'd be angry with me. Of course I'm angry. You didn't even tell me that you were going abroad. But now that I see you, I'm not angry anymore. Luo Meiwan still cared about her daughter and didn't want to say harsh words to her. Mom, I'm not going abroad. I'll always be by your side. I'm not going anywhere. Lualuali sniffled. Luo Meiwan pushed her away. Don't cry. You're still sick. As she spoke, she took a tissue to wipe her tears. Is there anything you want to eat? I'll make it for you. I want to eat the vegetable porridge you make. Don't they make porridge for you? What's wrong with Linshan? No. Mom doesn't make it. I haven't eaten it for so many years. I really want it. Luo Meijuan's heart ached. She didn't know why she had to go abroad. But she didn't say anything else and went to make her porridge. Luo Meiwan brought the porridge to her. Lualuali finished the entire bowl and still wanted more. It's so delicious. I want more. When Luo Meiwan came downstairs, she saw Gu Linshan. This made her feel a little uncomfortable. She was embarrassed. Until now, she still couldn't face it calmly. She always felt that it was strange, but Gu Linshan didn't have that kind of awareness at all. He wanted Luo Luoli, regardless of who she was. Gu Linshan's gaze fell on the bowl in Luo Meijuan's hand and asked, "She still wants more?" "She probably hasn't eaten in a long time. She's craving a lot. Let's eat in an hour. Her stomach won't feel good if she's too full," Gu Linshan said. It wasn't that Luo Meiwan didn't care about her daughter. First of all, Gu Linshan was right. Second of all, Gu Linshan's words were like an order that couldn't be disobeyed. Luo Meiwan thought of something and said, "Luo Luoli isn't feeling well right now. I want to bring her back to stay for a few days. I want to take care of her." Gu Linshan fell silent. His dark eyes narrowed, and his expression couldn't be seen clearly. After a while, he said, "Okay." Chapter 774. No, I'll tell her. I'll send her back tomorrow morning. Luo Meiwan thought it was today. But since Gu Linshan had said so, there was no difference between today and tomorrow. Luo Meiwan stayed with Luo Luoli for a long time and then left. At night, Luo Luoli slept on Gu Linshan's bed. So when Gu Linshan went in, took a shower, and changed his clothes, she could only turn her face away and close her eyes, pretending not to know anything. She really wanted to go back to her old room. But she couldn't do that if Gu Linshan didn't allow it. She felt so aggrieved and hopeless. When Gu Linshan came out of the shower, he was holding a hot towel in his hand. Luo Luoli felt even more hopeless, because Gu Linshan would wipe her body every night. A sick body couldn't be bathed. "Little uncle, I'm almost better now. Let me wipe myself." Luo Luoli was a little evasive. She wanted to snatch the towel from Gu Linshan's hand. But Gu Linshan avoided her. His hand reached directly under the blanket. Luo Luoli's face turned completely red. Although she hadn't reached that stage with Gu Linshan yet. But she was just one step away, wasn't she? It was very dangerous, as if she could reach that stage at any time. Gu Linshan looked at Luo Luoli, who was tilting her face and tensing up her body. He wiped her body with his hand. It was very interesting to see her shy expression. But it was also a difficult task. After all, wiping a beautiful and delicate girl required a lot of control. Otherwise, it would be out of control. He definitely couldn't control himself. Now, there were signs that he couldn't control himself. So Gu Linshan changed the topic. "I'll send you to your mother's place tomorrow for a few days." Luo Luoli was stunned. She opened her eyes and looked at Gu Linshan. "My mother's place? Really? Really? Oh." Luo Luoli was still a little confused. Why was she suddenly sent to her mother? How could Gu Linshan be so kind? Didn't he want her to be right under his nose? The kind that was domineering and unreasonable. "If you don't want to go, I'm more than happy to." Gu Linshan could tell what Luo Luoli was thinking about as her eyes darted around. Upon hearing Gu Linshan's words, Luo Luoli jumped in fright and hurriedly said, "I really want to go." "In other words, you don't want to stay by my side?" Gu Linshan's eyes were dangerous. If she dared to say anything, he would eat her up. This was definitely the terror of the wild beasts in the jungle. "Of course not. I think I've been abroad for 3 years, so it's reasonable for me to go back and stay for a few days. Right? I'll be back in a few days anyway." Gu Linshan bent his upper body slightly and said in a domineering tone, "What if I say that I don't want you to go?" Luo Luoli panicked. "You were the one who said that you wanted to bring me back. I didn't suggest it. Besides, I'm not selling you. Be reasonable. If you marry me, you'll be mine." "It's the same as selling you to me." Gu Linshan understood it this way. "You think I'll sell you just because you say so? I don't agree." Luo Luoli's little face, which had finally regained its normal color, flushed red again. This person. How could this person be such a hooligan? "Don't shout. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I'll do, Gu Linshan reminded her. TSK, what will you do if I shout? If you want to be a hooligan, just… Before Luoluali could finish her sentence, Gu Linshan had already stood up and straightened his body. He didn't mind letting her see if he would really do something. Luoluali widened her eyes and swallowed her saliva in fear. Are you satisfied? Luoluali immediately buried her head under the blanket. She wished that she would never come out again. She had actually seen it and was in a daze. It was all Gu Linshan's fault. How could he be such a hooligan? Luoluali couldn't see Gu Linshan, but she didn't hear anything either. Just as she was wondering what Gu Linshan was doing, the blanket over her head was pulled off. Her hand was pulled over. Something was put on her ring finger. Luoluali saw it. It was a ring, a very beautiful ring. It emitted a light blue halo and was extremely clear. The multifaceted cut made it look even more luxurious, and each side had a different luster. She couldn't help but stare at it in a daze. The most beautiful diamond she had ever seen was the one on Tang Bao's finger. It was pink. Some people said that blue diamonds represented the deepest and purest love. But Gu Linshan's ring, what did it represent? Little uncle, where did this come from? Luoluali couldn't help but ask. Gu Linshan didn't answer her. Instead, he handed her another ring. It was a pair with Luoluali's ring. Put it on for me. Luoluali took it in a daze and put it on Gu Linshan. Why did she feel that this scene was very familiar? As if she had seen it somewhere before? When she put the ring on Gu Linshan, she was actually very nervous. We registered our marriage in a hurry and didn't have time to prepare. Now we can. You should understand the significance of putting on the ring. Luoluali really wanted to say that she didn't understand. Could he not ask her to understand? Putting on the ring means that I'm tying you down. You can't escape. Gu Linshan stared at her deeply, as if he was staring at a small prey that he had captured. Luoluali's scalp went numb. Are you serious? Then I can take it off too. Take it off and I'll chop off your hand. That was too cruel. What if it falls off? Even if it falls off, you'll still chop it off. So you better watch it carefully and make sure that it's on your finger at all times. Do you understand? Gu Linshan warned her. This was definitely the scariest warning, and Luoluali had to treat it like her own life and protect it like that. So be it. She wouldn't lose a piece of flesh anyway. Gu Linshan reached out and hooked Luoluali's chin with his finger. He lifted it up and met Luoluali's bright eyes. He asked, Do you know what to do next after putting on the ring? No. I don't know. Gu Linshan didn't tell her. He directly pressed his face against hers. 4 lips pressed against each other. It was a kiss. Luoluali was kissed gently and carefully by Gu Linshan. Her breathing and rationality were dominated by him, and she felt a little dizzy. She didn't feel so dizzy even when she was on a boat. Gu Linshan, on the other hand, was still protecting her as if she were a delicacy. The more timid she was, the more Gu Linshan pursued her, leaving her with no way out. Luoluali pushed Gu Linshan's chest with both hands. When their lips parted, Luoluali couldn't wait to breathe. Gu Linshan's voice was so low and rough in her ear, as if his throat had been cut by something. Get better quickly. I can't wait any longer. Chapter 775. She didn't want to talk about this topic, so she racked her brains to change the topic. You haven't told me where you got the diamond. Did you buy it? I dug it out. Luoluali looked up. Her eyes were still wet. She was puzzled. You dug it out? Where did you dig it? Was he kidding her? What kind of place was so valuable that one could dig out diamonds from? Could he tell her the address and let her dig one out too? She would definitely make a fortune then. The Middle East. Luoluali knew that Gu Linshan used to live in the Middle East. Could he really have dug it out? It was hard to say where he was. Why didn't you dig out more? Luoluali asked regretfully. Gu Linshan was speechless. The next day, Luo Luoli was sent back to Luo Majuan's place. Luo Majuan's eyes lit up when she saw the ring on Luo Luoli's finger. She was in a good mood. Gu Linshan left after lunch. Before he left, he pressed Luo Luoli to the center of the bed and kissed her fiercely. Only then did he leave reluctantly. Luo Luoli understood the look in his eyes. He looked like he wanted to eat her up. Luo Luoli didn't know what it would be like if he really ate her up. She was so scared that she clutched the blanket tightly with both hands. Luo Meiwan opened the door and entered. Luo Luoli saw that she was in a very good mood. She thought that it was because she was back. Unexpectedly, Luo Meiwan asked, "Did Linshan give you this ring?" "I saw it. He was also wearing it. It's a wedding ring, right?" This. Luo Luoli had forgotten about it. She had long forgotten about the ring on her finger. If she had known, she would have taken it off before she entered the house. "This diamond is so beautiful. I've never seen it before. The Gu family has good things. I hope that Linshan will continue to treat you like this. I'm relieved." Luo Luoli looked at Luo Majuan's expression and asked, "You accept? You don't object anymore?" "What's the use of me objecting? I'm telling you, Linshan has always been domineering when he was young. If he hadn't been determined to marry you, would he have married you? Since you've made up your mind, I can't take you away from you as your mother. I've thought it through. As long as he treats you well, it's fine." "That's right, he gave you a ring, but did he say when the banquet will be held?" "Yes, he said he would be late." Luo Luoli laughed dryly. She couldn't possibly say no. What if her mother went to Gu Linshan? Wouldn't that be too embarrassing for her? "Then I'm relieved. I need to think about what I should prepare for your wedding. Anyway, I'm helping you prepare the money. Even if Linshan is rich, what's yours is yours. It's different. Otherwise, people will gossip." Luo Luoli didn't expect her mother to take her words seriously. She was just trying to brush her mother off. Luo Meiwan seemed to have thought of something and asked, "Linshan wants to marry you. Did he mention anything about old Master Gu?" "No." Luo Meiwan was a little worried. No one could stop Gu Linshan from getting married. However, she hoped that old Master Gu would agree. She could suffer any grievances, but she didn't want Luo Luoli to suffer. "Mom, don't think too much. Old Master Gu already knows that Gu Linshan and I are husband and wife now. It doesn't matter whether we have a wedding or not. Actually, I hope that the wedding can be held later. What do you think? It can be held later, but it has to be held. That's my only request." "Why? How can a girl get married without holding a wedding? I won't agree to it." Seeing her mother like this, Luo Luoli didn't say anything. Actually, she didn't know what Luo Meiwan was thinking. When Luo Meiwan was young, she eloped with Luo Luoli's father and got a marriage certificate, but they didn't hold a wedding. And later, when she remarried, she didn't hold a wedding either. She had never held a wedding in her life, so she naturally didn't want Luo Luoli to be like her. If they didn't hold a wedding, they would be laughed at. The only difficulty was old Master Gu. The next day, Luo Meiwan went to the Gu family mansion. She thought that she wouldn't be able to enter, but she didn't expect that she would be able to enter. She hadn't stepped into this place for more than 10 years, but she still felt a sense of familiarity. Back then, she was also a rich young lady here and lived a comfortable life. Her status was also envied by others. But now, did she regret it? She didn't know what regret was. Things had happened, and just like the gears of a person's fate, there was no turning back. When she loved that man, she was happy. When she gave birth to Luo Luoli, she was happy. She couldn't say that she regretted those things. After entering the hall, Luo Meiwan handed the gift she brought to the servant and stood there a little cautiously. She looked like a criminal waiting to be judged. The servant asked her to sit, but she didn't sit. For Luo Luoli, it didn't matter even if she had to suffer some grievances. After waiting for a long time, old Master Gu finally walked out of the room. When he saw Luo Meiwan standing there, he didn't look very happy. After sitting down on the sofa, he didn't let Luo Meiwan sit down. He only asked, "What's the matter?" "No, I just came here to see you." "There's no need to see me. My life will be longer if you don't appear in front of me," old Master Gu said coldly. Luo Meiwan looked uncomfortable and lowered her gaze. "I don't ask you to forgive my ignorance back then. I just hope that you don't hate Loli. She's just a child and doesn't know anything. I don't understand what you're saying. Do I need you to tell me whether I hate your daughter or not? A crooked stick will have a crooked shadow." Luo Meijuan's expression changed. "Loli didn't do anything wrong." "Didn't do anything wrong? Didn't she seduce my son and make him marry her?" Old Master Gu was furious when he heard this. "That wasn't Loli's fault. Linshan forced her," Luo Meiwan explained anxiously. "She only wanted to protect her daughter, and Gu Linshan wasn't so weak. If Gu Linshan really cared about Luololi, he would agree with her. Moreover, it was the truth." "So you're saying that your daughter is innocent?" "Why did I hear that your daughter was the one who kept pestering Linshan in the beginning? If she hadn't pestered him, would Linshan have thought of marrying her? Now you're blaming everything on Linshan. Do you think I can't tell what you're thinking? Aren't you saying all this just to make me accept your daughter? Do you think that's possible? Unless I die, I won't acknowledge her for even a single day. You should have some backbone. If you're useless, don't let your daughter seduce my son. Don't learn from Songji and make me look down on you." Luo Meijuan's face turned pale. She couldn't believe that old Master Gu would say such harsh words. "What? If you think my words are harsh, don't embarrass yourself. Loli is innocent." Luo Meijuan's eyes were filled with tears. Chapter 776. Of course she's innocent. She's innocent to have a mother like you. But I won't pity her. If she had any sense of shame, she would have stayed away from Gu Linshan. But they're already married. I can't ask them to get a divorce. Besides, Gu Linshan won't agree to it. If they're not suitable for each other, they shouldn't be together. A divorce is the best solution. How about this? If you can think of a way to get them to get a divorce, I'll forgive you and let you enter the Gu family." Luo Meiwan didn't expect old Master Gu to still be so angry. She had left the Gu family and hurt his feelings. He should be angry. But why did he hate Luoluoli? Was it because she gave birth to her? How could she agree to such a request? Between Luoluoli's lifelong happiness and marrying into the Gu family, she would definitely choose the former. Lin Xiangding, who was hiding in the dark outside, heard everything clearly. She was hoping that Luo Meiwan would choose to return to the Gu family and let Luoluoli and Gu Linshan get a divorce. But what she heard was Luo Meiwan saying that she only wanted Luoluoli to be happy. What a joke! What happiness! Their happiness was built on her pain. She had always liked Gu Linshan. How could she let Luoluoli steal her heart? How could she? In the past 3 years, she hadn't heard anything about Luoluoli. She didn't even have a chance to deal with Luoluoli. She even thought that Gu Linshan might have gotten a divorce with Luoluoli. But she didn't expect that the greater her hope, the greater her disappointment. Now was a good opportunity. A chance to make Gu Linshan hate Luoluoli forever. At this moment, she had saved Luo Meijuan's photo in her phone. Naturally, she had a perfect idea in her mind. Luoluoli was wandering alone on the street. Her mother told her that a friend was looking for her and that she was going out to do something. She wanted to go with her, but she didn't want to. Since when did he become so mysterious? It was fun to think about it. He deeply felt that freedom was still the best. For the past 3 years, she had been in the castle. To be honest, she was already very familiar with the castle. She even knew where the flowers and plants grew. As for those roses, she would just sit there and count them. It was extremely boring. Luoluoli really had that feeling. Now that she had freedom, she didn't know what she could do. She knew that she would not starve to death even if she did not work. After all, Gu Linshan had plenty of money. But she wasn't that kind of person. She wanted to live a fulfilling life. Then he had to find something to do. What should he find to do? To be honest, she didn't want to go to school anymore. Not only was she old, but she also didn't have the interest. Lualuali stood in front of the bookstore window and looked at the books inside. Then, he walked in. He flipped through the books on the bookshelf. Lualuali's dream was to become a talented person, and she majored in literature. Back then, his teacher had said that talent trumped everything. As long as you have talent, it's fine even if you don't go to school. Lualuali wanted to be that kind of person now. Just as she was lost in thought, her phone rang. It was Luo Meiwan. "Luali, where are you?" "Outside." "Are you back?" "I'm back. I just got home." "Oh, I'm going to find a friend and then go back." Lualuali picked a few books and left the bookstore. The person she was looking for was Red 7. After turning half the street, she saw Red 7 sitting in a shady place begging. Lualuali covered her eyes with a book and went forward. "Guess who I am? Luali?" Lualuali took the book away and was very surprised. "You recognize me like this? This is called thinking in the day, dreaming at night. Aren't you being too disloyal? You haven't come to see me, and I couldn't get through to your phone. I thought you went to give birth." Lualuali sat down next to her. "It's a long story, so I won't say it. How are you?" "I'm pretty good, just like before. But recently I've changed my mind. I don't want to be a beggar anymore." "Why?" "I'm already traumatized." Red 7's face was full of despair. "What's wrong?" "That night, I was sleeping soundly when I was eaten by a man in a suit who was drunk." Lualuali was so stunned that the book in her hand fell to the ground. Then did you call the police? Do you think anyone would believe a beggar like me? The key is that the other party is dressed in branded clothes. This lawsuit is lost. Why would a person of status want a beggar? My plaintiff will become the defendant. Do you know that? Then, Lualuali was completely stuttering. Then do you know what that person looks like? It's not like you don't know the light under the overpass at night. It's so dazzling. Lualuali couldn't believe it. This was more exciting than a TV drama? A real-life version. To be honest, as a beggar, her clothes were tattered. A man in a suit dressed in branded clothes ate Red 7. It was obvious that he had drunk a lot of alcohol. But even so, Red 7 was still a virgin. She was at a disadvantage. Lualuali looked at Red 7, who was deep in thought, and patted her shoulder. "Red 7, you must pull yourself together. Just treat it as if you were bitten by a dog. Actually, I'm not at a disadvantage. I was afraid that I would become an old woman in the future. Now I don't have to worry. That man even had cologne on him. It smelled pretty good." Lualuali looked at Red 7, who was deep in thought. For a moment, she couldn't understand what she meant. "Don't tell me you're looking forward to that person appearing?" Red 7 looked at her in disbelief. "Are you kidding me? If I was looking forward to it, would I not want to do such a great job? I'm just afraid that he will come again. That's why I want to change my career." "Then what do you want to do?" "I haven't thought about it yet." Red 7 scratched her messy hair. "I'm also preparing to work." "What do you want to do?" "I want to be a scriptwriter." "Do you need help?" "Haha, sure. When I become a scriptwriter, I'll ask you to help me. I'll make a killing." "I'm serious." After Lualuali went back home, Luo Meiwan saw the book in her hand and asked, "Are these all romance books?" Lualuali was a little embarrassed. "I'm just looking around." Why did she feel that Luo Meiwan's gaze seemed to be hinting at something? Did he think that she was buying these books to strengthen her relationship with Gu Linshan? That was completely wrong, okay? Forget it, she didn't want to explain. She didn't know what kind of novel she would be able to write by then. When the two of them were having dinner that night, Luo Meiwan received a phone call. He even avoided Lualuali to answer the call. Lualuali was puzzled. Why was he being so secretive? After answering the call, Luo Meiwan walked over. Luo Luoli, I have to go out for a while. You're going out so late? What's the matter? Chapter 777. How many friends did you make in the 3 years that I was gone? It won't take long. Then I'll send you there. It's okay. It's not far. Okay. Be careful. Luo Luoli thought that nothing would happen. What could happen between her and Luo Meiwan? Luo Luoli suddenly thought of something. Could it be that she was in love? It was normal for her to find a reliable man to fall in love with during the 3 years that she was gone. However, Luo Luoli was still traumatized when she thought of her stepfather. To be honest, she was not happy. When the time came, she would secretly find out what kind of person her stepfather was. This became a psychological pressure for Luo Luoli. Luo Luoli was alone at home. After eating and washing the dishes, she went back to her room to read. Her phone rang. She thought it was Luo Meiwan, but when she looked, she saw that it was Gu Linshan. She picked up. Hello? If I don't call you, you won't call me. Gu Linshan's cold voice came from the other side. But there's nothing going on. Can't I call if there's nothing going on? Luo Luoli thought to herself, what is this? Is it a crime not to call? Can you not be so unreasonable? What are you doing? Gu Linshan asked. Reading in bed. Do you want to go to school? I don't really want to go. You don't have to go. I can take care of you. You can spend my money. I'm very generous to my wife. I don't need you to take care of me. I can take care of myself. Although Luo Luoli felt that Gu Linshan's words were very overbearing, she could not help but smile. What do you want to do? I'm not telling you. Luo Luoli pretended to be mysterious with him. You need to be taught a lesson. Why? I don't want to spread the news before I start. Can't I do that? Luo Luoli pouted unhappily. No. You're too overbearing. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm going to read. I'll pick you up tomorrow. So fast? Luo Luoli was surprised. She had only been here for 3 days. Fast? You can continue to live there if you want. Really? Tomorrow I'll stay with you at your mother's place. You can stay there until you come back. What do you think? Luo Luoli's face turned ugly. You did it on purpose. We're already married. Your mother won't mind. Luo Luoli huffed angrily. Suddenly, she thought of something and asked, Since we're married, little uncle, how should you address my mother now? Shouldn't he call her mom? I don't think I've ever heard you do that before. Gu Linshan's expression froze. What's the hurry? Humph, you're an old cow eating young grass. Of course I'm embarrassed to call you that. What did you say? Say it again? Who are you calling old? Gu Linshan's threatening voice came from the other end of the phone. He wanted to strangle her to death. I'll stop talking. I'm going to bed. Good night. Luo Luoli was so frightened that she quickly hung up the phone. She lay on the bed and thought she wasn't wrong. He was an old cow eating young grass. Did she say something wrong? Just then, the phone that she had put down rang again. Are you serious? I only said that, and you're still not letting me off? Luo Luoli mumbled as she took the phone. She wanted to reject the call. However, when she took the phone in her hand, she saw that it wasn't Gu Linshan calling. It was an unfamiliar number. Hello? Who is this? Luo Luoli, how are you? Who are you? Luo Luoli felt that this voice was familiar. Where had she heard it before? Chao Xian, don't you remember? We haven't seen each other for a few years, and you've forgotten about me. I'm so sad. Luo Luoli recalled. Chao Xian? It was the woman who was with Lin Xiangding. Why did she call her? How did she get her phone number? How do you know my number? Luo Luoli asked. Why can't I know? I also know that your mother is at a bar right now. What nonsense are you talking about? Nonsense? I was at a bar too, and then I saw your mother. I didn't know that your mother liked to come to places like this. Is she in love? Luo endured Chow Xian's insults and asked, "How do you know my mother? You've never seen her before." "What a coincidence. The man beside me has seen your mother before. You don't believe me? How about this? I'll send you a few photos." Luo was about to ask what the photos were when the call ended. Not long after, she received a text message. Luo opened the phone and saw Luo Meijuan's back in the dark bar. She could only see her side profile. She was wearing the same clothes she had worn today. Even if there was no side profile, even if it was just a back view, Luo would not mistake her mother for someone else. Luo quickly called Luo Meijuan, but his phone was turned off. Why was his phone turned off? Luo Meijuan's phone was never turned off. Thinking of Chow Xian, who had called her just now, she wondered if that woman had done something bad to Luo Meijuan. Li dialed the phone number and it was quickly picked up. "Which bar are you at? What's the address?" Luo was worried. She wanted to go and have a look. "Why should I tell you? I think it will be interesting when those men get your mother drunk and take her to a room." Luo's face turned pale. "What men? I don't know. Maybe they like your mother. Although your mother is not young, she is still attractive. Men will be attracted to her." "Tell me the address," Luo shouted anxiously. "All right, since you're so filial, I'll tell you." After getting the address, Luo rushed out of the door. She was afraid that she would be late. She didn't know why Luo Meijuan would go to a bar. She would never go to that kind of place. Could it be that her boyfriend had taken her there? She couldn't think of any other explanation. Luo rushed to the bar and looked around for Luo Meijuan. But she didn't see anyone. She only saw Chow Xian, who was with a group of men and women. He stepped forward and asked, "Where's my mother?" Chow Xian sneered but didn't say anything. The people next to her jeered. "How fashionable. Your mother is in a bar?" Women nowadays look very young if they take good care of themselves. "Last time, I was with a rich woman about the same age." Tsk. If Luo hadn't been in a hurry to find Luo Meijuan, she would have really fought with these people. Their mouths were too disgusting. "Chow Xian, can you tell me? When I find my mother, I will be very grateful to you." "Grateful? I still remember the fight you had with me 3 years ago. To be honest, I am still very unhappy." "Then what do you want?" Luo asked. Chapter 778. With a smack, Luo took a step back, her face slanted to the side. Her face burned with pain. "You can fight back." Chow Xian concluded that she didn't have the guts. Luo could endure it for Luo Meijuan. She swallowed her anger and said calmly, "I won't fight back. I just want you to tell me where my mother is." Chow Xian didn't answer Luo. She turned to her companions and asked, "Do you think she's pretty? To be honest, I've never seen such a beautiful woman before." "Chow Xian, where did you find her? Why didn't you introduce her to us earlier? I feel like I'm looking at my first love." "She's stunning." Chow Xian was extremely jealous. Disgusting thoughts emerged one after another. "So you like her a lot? I won't disappoint you." She then raised a glass of wine and handed it to Luo. "Drink it and I'll tell you." "Are you serious? If you don't believe me, you don't have to drink it. It was just a glass of wine." Luo didn't think of anything else. She couldn't delay any longer. She had to find Luo Meijuan quickly. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. Thus, she took the glass and drank it in one gulp. The spicy taste stimulated her to tears. She couldn't stop coughing. Cough, cough, cough. Cough, cough, cough. Cough, cough, cough. Ha ha ha, she really is your first love. She doesn't even know how to drink. I can't bear to see her like this. I want to comfort her. The man who spoke reached out and pulled Luo over. Luo lost her balance and fell over. She was so frightened that she immediately resisted. She wanted to stand up, but the man didn't let go and touched her face. Luo was extremely disgusted. Get lost. Oh, she still has a temper. I like it. The men and women next to him were all laughing. Chao Xian looked at this scene with a vicious smile. Being hugged by that man, the man beside her couldn't help but feel itchy and wanted to take advantage of Luo. Luo struggled with all her might, but she felt her body becoming weaker and weaker. What was going on? Was her alcohol tolerance that bad? He couldn't exert any strength at all. Something was wrong. She had been drugged. Chao Xian. Luo turned around and saw the venom in Chao Xian's eyes. No, she had to save herself. These people would not let her go. Luo sneakily reached into her pocket and found her phone. Her fingers fumbled under the table. On the left was the call log. What was the number? He clicked on the third last one. At the same time, her face was kissed by the man beside her. She was so disgusted that she dropped her phone under the table. Don't dodge. Let Big Brother kiss you. Your little face is so tender. It's so delicious, I'm really tempted. Why don't we go to the room? Together? You can't take it all for yourself, right? Are other men interested? If the woman is interested, that's fine too. No need, we don't have that kind of interest. She's really lucky to be liked by you guys. The woman pinched Luo's face. Yo, you're really tender and smooth. You guys are really lucky. Let's go. Wait a minute. Luo was already very weak. Her voice was very soft. What's wrong? Are you very excited? I want to ask you, what bar is this? Scarlet Bar. I can't hear you. Scarlet Bar? Can you hear me? Luo naturally heard her, but she did not know if Gu Linshan heard her. Was the call still not connected? She could not see the phone under the table, but she had her only hope. She hoped that Gu Linshan would come to save her. The men left with Luo and went upstairs to get a room. Chao Xian watched Luo being taken away and felt very happy. Would any man still want Luo who had been defiled? Moreover, those men had a hobby which was to take all kinds of photos. She did not have to worry that things would not work out. She was sure that as long as they saw Luo in a bar, they would be very tempted and would immediately want to take her to their room. Just as Chao Xian was feeling proud, she seemed to have stepped on something. She bent down and saw a phone. When she picked it up, it was still connected. The caller ID was Little Uncle. Wasn't that Gu Linshan? Chao Xian thought about how Luo had suddenly asked them what bar this was and knew that something bad had happened. However, she did not dare to stay and did not want to remind those men. She picked up her bag and ran away. She hoped that those men would hurry up and not wait until Gu Linshan arrived. If that happened, all their efforts would be in vain. When she left the bar, she threw Luo's phone into the bin. Luo allowed those men to take her to the room. It was not that she did not want to resist, but she did not even have the strength to lift a finger. She was anxious and scared. She was not only worried about herself now, but also about Luo Meiwan. She was so useless. Why did she have to drink that glass of wine? Luo was thrown onto the bed. The men could not wait to climb on top of her. Wait. Take a few photos first. Take a video. I want to see how we all like this beauty. I want to see how she looks when she's happy. She must be beautiful. In the future, I can keep it as a souvenir and take it out to reminisce about it. Ah. A few men held their phones in their hands. Everyone was taking photos. They even had to position Luo's face to make it easier for them to take photos. After taking a few photos, they tore a hole in her shirt at the shoulder, revealing her snow-white skin. She had to look pitiful and helpless. Tears fell from the corners of Luo's eyes. She could not do anything, but she could feel it. Oh, she's quite cooperative. Look, she's crying. Later, I'll make her cry even harder. Luo's gaze shifted to the door. When was Gu Linshan coming? If he did not come, she would lose her chastity. He was usually so domineering towards her. Why was he not coming now? After taking photos of her torn shirt, they began to pull off her pants. Just as the buttons were about to be unbuttoned, the sound of a magnetic card being swiped on the door could be heard. The men did not notice. They were still immersed in their excitement. When the door opened, a black shadow leaped over. The men surrounding Luoluali were kicked away in the next second. There were also those who wanted to resist. Gu Linchen grabbed the man's neck with one hand. The sound of bones breaking could be heard. The man's neck was broken. His tongue was stuck out and his eyes were wide open. He died with a grievance. There were others who were frightened. They did not dare to go forward and kept retreating. They were gangsters, but they had never killed anyone. When they retreated to the door, the bodyguards outside were like a solid wall. Even a fly could not fly out. Chapter 779. Luoluali looked at Gu Linchen as tears streamed down her cheeks. She had almost lost her chastity. Gu Linchen took off his suit jacket and covered Luoluali with it. He bent down and kissed her on the lips. Luoluali's tears fell even harder. After Gu Linchen kissed her, he wiped away the tears on Luoluali's face. One side of her face was red and swollen with a handprint. It was obvious that she had been hit. Gu Linchen's gaze became extremely frightening, as if he wanted to eat someone alive. Photos, photos. Luoluali's voice was soft and anxious, but Gu Linchen understood. He stood up and looked at the panicking men as if he was looking at dead people. He asked, "Where are the phones? If we delete the photos, will they let us off? We don't know who she is. If we did, we wouldn't have done this to her." Gu Linchen laughed. "Before you touch her, you should do your homework and find out who she is." With that, a gun appeared in his hand and he started firing. Some of the men tried to escape, but could they outrun the bullets? After the gunshots, everyone in the room was lying on the floor except for Gu Linchen, who was still standing. Blood flowed all over the floor. It was a ghastly sight. Luoluali's line of sight happened to be blocked by Gu Linchen's tall body. However, she was still frightened by the sound of the gunshot and the screams. Could it be that he really killed them? This was the first time she had seen Gu Linchen kill someone, and it was right in front of her. She could see that Gu Linchen was furious. His bloodthirsty nature made him extremely terrifying. The bodyguards went forward to search through everyone's phones and handed them to Gu Linchen. Gu Linchen's face darkened. "Put them on the floor." The bodyguards who had been angered hurriedly put the phones on the floor and cleverly handed over a gun. Gu Linchen had wasted all the bullets in the gun. Gu Linchen took the gun and fired at the cell phones. Every cell phone exploded into pieces. After doing all this, Gu Linchen picked up Luoluali from the bed and left the room. Luoluali was carried weakly all the way out of the bar. They got into the car. The bodyguard walked over. "Young Master Gu, we've found Miss Phone. We found it in the rubbish bin. We might have to clean and disinfect it before we can give it to you." After all, the trash can outside the bar was where the drunkards vomited. It was very disgusting. If Gu Linchen didn't want to investigate the process of the incident, why would he need the phone? "My mother," Luoluali said weakly. "What happened to her?" "She's..." Before Luoluali could finish her sentence, Gu Linchen's phone vibrated. Gu Linchen took a look and answered the call. Luo Majuan's anxious voice could be heard from the other end. "Linchen, did you bring Lolita back? I haven't seen her since I came back. I couldn't get through to her either." Gu Linchen looked at the weak Luoluali in his arms and said, "She's with me." "Then I'm relieved," Gu Linchen said to Luoluali. "She's at home." Although Luoluali didn't know what was going on, it was fine as long as she was fine. After the car arrived at the hospital, the doctor checked her condition. Fortunately, those people had only drugged Luoluali with some ecstasy. It wouldn't cause any harm to her body. She would be fine after sleeping for a while. Luoluali's body couldn't take it anymore and her head was spinning. Before the doctor could finish speaking, she had already fallen asleep. Just in case, Gu Linshan let her stay in the hospital. At night, Gu Linshan stayed in the hospital to accompany her. However, it was very late and he was still awake. The ward was quiet. Luoluali's breathing was normal and her complexion was normal. She was sleeping soundly. Gu Linshan's body was pressed down on the bed. His hands were on Luoluali's body, and he looked domineering. Even if it was me who tore your clothes, it should be me. Those people all deserve to die. I think maybe I've become merciful now. Otherwise, I would have killed their entire family. If Luoluali heard this, she would be so shocked that her mouth would be agape. Kill their entire family? Wasn't that too cruel? Those men were the ones who had bullied her. What did it have to do with her family? But to Gu Linshan, if it wasn't for his family's education, why would there be people who dared to offend him? Therefore, people like Gu Linshan were used to being rampant in the Middle East. Sometimes the reason for killing was really insignificant. There was a soft knock on the door. The bodyguard walked in and handed the cell phone to Gu Linshan. Young Master Gu, it's been disinfected. The phone isn't damaged. Gu Linshan took the cell phone with a gloomy expression. He turned it on and looked at the call history before looking at the text message. When he opened the picture, Gu Linshan's dark eyes became fierce. Why was Luo Meiwan at the bar? In other words, Luoluali had gone to the bar because of Luo Meiwan. Then someone had called Luoluali. Gu Linshan looked at the picture and suddenly felt that something was wrong. He then realized that the picture was Photoshop. The person in the picture was Luo Meiwan and the bar in the background was a photoshopped picture. He had tricked Luoluali into going to the bar and then drugged her. This was a good plan. When Luoluali woke up, it was already morning. As soon as she opened her eyes, the unbearable memories flooded her mind. She was so frightened that she jumped up. Gu Linshan immediately hugged her. "It's okay, don't be afraid. It's okay now." The familiar voice and strong embrace calmed Luoluali down a little. She looked up and met Gu Linshan's deep eyes. She was stunned. "Youngest uncle? I went to save you last night. Have you forgotten?" Luoluali had indeed forgotten, but now she remembered. Indeed, at the last moment, Gu Linshan had appeared. When Luoluali remembered, she became even angrier. She pounded Gu Linshan's chest. "Why didn't you come earlier? They bullied me and even tore my clothes. They almost saw me naked." The more she spoke, the more aggrieved and afraid she felt. Tears streamed down her face. Gu Linshan indulged her and comforted her. "It's okay now. The people who bullied you are dead." Luoluali froze. She stood there in a daze, as if she had just remembered how those people had died. Gu Linshan had shot them. "Doesn't your hand hurt? Let me take a look." Gu Linshan held her little hand and rubbed it for her. "Are those people really dead?" Luoluali asked. "Yes. But if people find out, you will go to jail." Luoluali's face was a little pale. No matter how evil those people were, they were still under the supervision of the law. Gu Linshan saw her worry and asked, "What if I go to jail? Will you divorce me and not want me anymore?" Luoluali looked at Gu Linshan in a daze. Would she do that? Luoluali felt her heart ache. She shook her head under Gu Linshan's gaze. Chapter 780. Gu Linshan hadn't expected her to say that. He looked at her with a deep and blank gaze. "What's wrong? Isn't the gun here?" Luoluali asked when she saw that Gu Linshan didn't move. "You killed so many people, but the only punishment is the death penalty. The lightest punishment is to stay in jail for the rest of your life. Don't you regret it?" Gu Linshan asked in a hoarse voice. "Why should I regret it? I said that I caused this. I can't harm you. Also, after I go to jail, can you take care of my mother? I'm her only daughter. I'm afraid that when she's old, there won't be anyone to take care of her," Luoluali said. She started to cry as she thought of the misery. Gu Linshan was overjoyed. He pulled her into his arms and pressed his thin lips against her fair forehead. You won't go to jail. No one will go to jail. No one will dare to. Lualuali was puzzled. She sat up and looked at Gu Linshan. What do you mean? She asked. It's normal to get shot in a messy place like a bar. They won't trace it back to me. Even if they do, no one will dare to look for me. Gu Linshan looked at Lualuali, who was still in a daze. Why? Don't you believe me? Or are you disappointed that you didn't go to jail? No, I just find it a little hard to believe. Wasn't this world too crazy? Didn't it matter? There's nothing you can't believe when you're with me. I want to ask you, why did you go to a bar in the middle of the night? Can't you stand it if I don't look after you for a day? Gu Linshan's expression darkened. At the thought of this, Lualuali hurriedly asked, Where's my mother? Do you remember telling me that she's at home? Why is she at home? Is she okay? She's fine. You haven't told me why you went to a bar. How can you blame me? It's Chao Xian. She told me that she saw my mother at a bar and even sent me a photo. I was worried, so I went to the bar to look for my mother. Chao Xian? Gu Linshan frowned. She's the woman who was with Lin Xiangting. Gu Linshan snorted, so it's her. How interesting. She also gave me a glass of wine, which was drugged. I didn't know that she would do this to me. I was anxious and unprepared at that time. This person is simply too evil. Lualuali was so angry that she pounded the bed. Don't be angry. Gu Linshan comforted her. He felt like killing someone again. Anyway, it's fine as long as my mother is fine. But what's with that photo? My mom went to the bar. Is it because Chao Xian let my mother go after I went? Lualuali guessed. She didn't go to the bar at all. That's a composite photo. It's fake? Lualuali was shocked. I was fooled by a fake photo? She couldn't accept being so stupid. That's why you have to stay by my side more in the future. Only then will you become smarter. Lualuali looked at him suspiciously. I don't think so. You just want me to stay by your side. It has nothing to do with being smart. If I wasn't worried about my mother, I wouldn't have been fooled. She was indignant. Her face was still swollen, and she was back to her usual lively self. Gu Linshan reached out to touch her face. Lualuali stepped back. We haven't seen each other for 3 days. Can't I touch you? Do you think I won't tie you up? Lualuali had never seen such a person. Tie her up just because she didn't let him touch her? Are you a bandit? Can I go back now? I want to go back and take a shower. I feel so dirty and uncomfortable all over. The more Lualuali spoke, the more obvious she felt that she was dirty. Gu Linshan hugged her forcefully. Where are you dirty? You're very clean. Let me kiss you. No. Lualuali rejected him, but her mouth was blocked by Gu Linshan domineeringly. She couldn't break free no matter how hard she tried. Her face was red as she endured Gu Linshan's dominance. After they went back, Lualuali went into the bathroom to take a shower. She was only satisfied when her whole body was red. But she still felt very uncomfortable. This feeling was just like when Chen Xuejing touched her that year. She just wanted to escape. If Chen Xuejing hadn't died, she might still be traumatized. After she got dressed and walked out of the bathroom, she saw Gu Linshan in the bedroom. She didn't know why, but Gu Linshan's words flashed through her mind. Could she do that now? If she did that, would the disgusting thing that happened last night be erased? Actually, she was very afraid at that time. She was afraid that if she lost her innocence, she might as well have given it to Gu Linshan earlier. At least, he was her husband in the eyes of the law. Why are you standing there in a daze? Gu Linshan looked at Lualuali, who had just finished her shower. She was like a hibiscus flower that had just come out of the bath. The water droplets after the rain made him drool. It made him very restless. His eyes were as dark as a black hole. He wanted to wait for her to take the initiative to approach him, but she just stood there motionless. Come here. Lualuali took a few deep breaths in her heart before she took small steps towards Gu Linshan. The closer she got, the more he could smell a faint sweet scent, making his breathing chaotic. His face was tense. It seemed that if he relaxed, it would be out of control. This was simply going to kill him. However, Gu Linshan suppressed it. At least now was not the time to worry about Lualuali's trauma. Do you want to rest? Lualuali thought that Gu Linshan would pull her over and do something to her. She clearly saw the storm in Gu Linshan's eyes. It seemed to wrap around her invisibly. But now, he was only asking her if she wanted to rest? Why was it different from what she had imagined? Was she mistaken? Was she mistaken? Little uncle, didn't you say that you wanted to do it with me? Don't you want it any more? Lualuali mustered her courage and asked. Her face was bright red, redder than when she had drunk wine. She stood shyly in front of Gu Linshan. This sentence unintentionally added fuel to the fire. The storm in Gu Linshan's eyes that he had tried so hard to suppress surged again. He asked in a hoarse voice, "Didn't you not want me to like you in the past?" This question was not manly enough. He should have done Lualuali on the spot after she asked that question. Lualuali's face turned even redder. This feeling was very embarrassing and embarrassing. She wanted to bite her lips to pieces to stop herself from saying it. But she still said it. I'm your wife. These are all things that I should do. She thought of something and looked up with her bright and innocent eyes. She asked, "Does little uncle think that I'm dirty?" "But I've already washed myself clean." She looked like a female animal begging. Gu Linshan's expression hardened and he pulled her over. Lualuali looked up at Gu Linshan in shock. "I shouldn't have prepared you for anything." Chapter 781. It made one want to take a bite out of it. In fact, Gu Linshan really bit her. Lualuali almost cried out in pain. When he let go of her, there was a clear bite mark that glowed with a cute red color. Lualuali's eyes were filled with tears and she pleaded innocently, "It hurts, don't, then bite me," Gu Linshan said to Lualuali. When Lualuali woke up, she felt pain all over her body. It was as if she had been torn open and the wound had not healed. There was no strength in her legs, and she felt as if she had been crippled. Only now did she realize that she did not know enough about Gu Linshan. She thought that he was already very scary normally. She did not expect him to be so different from usual. He was like a wild beast. When she opened her eyes, she saw a firm and muscular chest. She did not need to raise her head to know who it was. She felt that she had lost all face. Last night, she even pretended to be pitiful in front of Gu Linshan. Otherwise, why would she be like this today? The soreness all over her body reminded her that she had done something stupid. What was the use of being upset? She deserved it. Gu Linshan already knew that Lualuali was awake. He did not move. He only looked at her little head and knew what she was struggling about. He wanted to see how long she was going to struggle. She was so cute and awkward. She was really cute. If it was not because he was afraid that her first time would hurt her body, he would not have stopped. Lualuali thought that Gu Linshan should not have woken up yet. Could she leave the bed before he woke up? Lualuali quietly raised her head and met Gu Linshan's dark eyes. "You're awake?" Gu Linshan asked as if nothing had happened. Lualuali continued to stare blankly at Gu Linshan. When did he wake up? He did not look like he had just woken up. Gu Linshan hooked his arm around her chin and began to get restless. He invaded her lips and kissed her Lualuali until she came back to her senses. "You're so cute. You're even frightened on your first time. You're so seductive. My soul has been seduced by you, little wild cat." Lualuali's face turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. I didn't." Did she scream? Did she look like a wildcat? Oh my God, can you turn back the time? She would never say such things to Gu Linshan again. "Do you regret it?" Gu Linshan asked as he pinched her chin. "There's no medicine for regret," Lualuali said pitifully. Gu Linshan smiled and looked at her with his dark eyes. You're right. Once you get into my bed, there's no chance for you to get out. Lualuali wondered if she was regretting it. I don't think so. She felt that at least she didn't have to worry about him being snatched away by someone else. Giving it to Gu Linshan didn't seem to be a bad thing. Anyway, even if she wanted to hide, she wouldn't be able to. She might as well accept her fate. Gu Linshan looked at Lualuali longingly. Just as he was about to turn over and devour Lualuali's little mouth again, Gu Linshan's stomach growled. Gu Linshan's stomach was growling and he stopped what he was doing. Lualuali was panicking as she wondered if Gu Linshan was going to eat her up again when she heard her stomach growl. More importantly, it was her own stomach growling. She quickly covered her face in embarrassment. Gu Linshan smiled and pulled her hand down. Don't feel embarrassed. You haven't eaten anything yet. It's normal to be hungry. Isn't it just daybreak? Lualuali felt that Gu Linshan was just coaxing her. It wasn't as if she didn't know. It's not just daybreak. It's getting dark. Lualuali blinked blankly. It's getting dark? What time is it now? Isn't it morning? It's 6:00 in the evening. Lualuali's heart raced. How could it be? It had already been one night and one day? When Gu Linshan made love to her, the world was spinning and she didn't know if it was day or night. When she woke up and saw that it was gray outside, she thought it was early in the morning. It was already night time. This was crazy. If it weren't for your poor health, this amount of time wouldn't have been enough. I'll treat you better when you're well rested. Gu Linshan kissed her shocked little mouth and got out of bed to get her something to eat. Lualuali was still in shock. She was so shocked that she couldn't close her mouth. He still felt that it was too little. Fortunately, it was her first time. Otherwise, it would have been even worse. Lualuali felt her scalp go numb as she thought about what had happened last night. Heavens, she regretted it now, okay? After Gu Linshan went downstairs, the butler ran over. Young Master Gu, old Master Gu is here. I don't have time. Gu Linshan went to get Lualuali some food with a cold expression. She was still thinking about how it should be sumptuous and nutritious. Otherwise, how could her small body withstand him in the future? Gu Linshan had never been with a woman before. This kind of unsatisfied craving made him restless. He wanted to do more with Lualuali. He really hadn't had enough. He still wanted more. How long would it take for her to recover? He could already feel Lualuali's discomfort. She must have been injured from that kind of action. You don't have time? If you don't have time, why are you in the mood to arrange dinner? Old Master Gu rushed in from behind. The butler couldn't stop him. Gu Linshan deeply felt that his bodyguards were useless. After the butler left, Gu Linshan said, I'm going to bring Luali some food now. You can wait in the living room. After saying that, she didn't care about old Master Gu's angry expression and carried the tray upstairs. Lualuali had already sat up and was leaning against the headboard. Although she didn't seem to be in a bad state right now, she was sweating from the time she was lying down to the time she was sitting up. It hurt so much. Why did you sit up on your own? Gu Linshan frowned. Lualuali pouted. Don't do this to me next time. Gu Linshan thought that he couldn't wait to do something with Lualuali. If it really didn't work out, he would try again when she recovered. But now she was telling him not to do this? He could tolerate this in the past, but now that he had tasted the sweetness of it, how could he tolerate it? It was impossible. He just had to let her have her way for now. How could her small and delicate body escape from his methods? Okay, I won't do this in the future. Lualuali looked at Gu Linshan suspiciously. Why did you agree so quickly? I don't think it's very believable. How is it not believable? It's just a feeling. If you want to know whether it's possible or not, you'll know in the future. Come, open your mouth. Uncle will feed you. Did he think she was a 3-year-old child? You haven't eaten yet, right? I already ate when you were asleep. Luo Luoli glared at him. Why didn't you wake me up when you ate? What kind of uncle was this? It was terrible. After feeding Luo Luoli, he let her rest. Chapter 782. Gu Linshan felt that something was wrong. Why was she still in so much pain? After such a torment, Luo Luoli was exhausted and slightly haggard. Looking at Luo Luoli's appearance, he could not help but blame himself. I'll get the doctor to send the medicine over. Lie down and don't move. It's all your fault. I'll stay far away from you in the future. Okay. Stay far away from me. You have the final say. Now, no matter what Luo Luoli said, Gu Linshan would listen to her and comfort her first. After Luo Luoli calmed down, Gu Linshan called the doctor. She heard him clearly when he told her about Luo Luoli's condition and what had caused it. After the call, she requested, "Little uncle, I don't want to see the doctor." "No, she'll only be downstairs." How could Gu Linshan not know what she was thinking? Her face was red and he really wanted to hug her and comfort her. Gu Linshan went downstairs. Old Master Gu, who was waiting in the living room, was fuming. It was just a meal. Was there a need to make him wait an hour? Gu Linshan handed the tray in his hand to the butler beside him and walked unhurriedly to the sofa. He sat down and crossed his long legs lazily. "You knew that I was waiting for you?" "I didn't know at first, but I knew when I saw you sitting here." "You? Why are you looking for me?" Gu Linshan ignored his anger. "What are you going to do to the Lin family?" What do you think?" "Xiang Ting only did this because she likes you. You tortured Chao Xian. Your subordinates have tortured her enough, right? Can you let her go now?" "Let her go? How can I? My subordinates used to follow me and didn't have much entertainment. As a man, I know how it feels to not have a woman. Now that I have a ready-made woman who doesn't even need to spend money, do you think they'll have enough?" Gu Linshan asked. "Then spare the Lin family. You can do whatever you want with Chao Xian. I'm sorry, but I won't let anyone involved in this matter go." "Not even for my sake?" Old Master Gu was furious. The frivolous look on Gu Linshan's face disappeared. He looked at Old Master Gu coldly and darkly. "You should have spread the news that I killed your mistress. Otherwise, they wouldn't know my temper." This was a knot in Old Master Gu's heart. Back then, he knew very well how Gu Linshan had killed his second wife, but there was nothing he could do about Gu Linshan. "I know you hate me, but the Lin family and the Gu family have been friends for decades. Won't the Gu family be yours in the future? Why do you have to be so hard on yourself?" "Mine? No need, you can give it to someone else. I don't want it anyway." Gu Linshan said calmly, "As for hating you, is there a need? If I'm unhappy with someone, I'll just make him disappear. It won't waste too much of my time and energy." "You think too much. Then how do you plan to deal with the Lin family? Does the destruction of the family count?" "Gu Linshan, you're too arrogant." "I've always been like this." Gu Linshan stood up and prepared to send him off. "If you're done talking, please go back. My place isn't a good place for you to be happy. What if I threaten you with death?" Gu Linshan looked up at Old Master Gu. He thought that he would compromise, but he didn't expect him to say, "Where did you learn to cry, throw a tantrum, and threaten to hang yourself? If you die, don't worry, I'll send you off." Old Master Gu was so angry that his whole body trembled. This unfilial son. What sins did he commit in his previous life to give birth to him? But he really couldn't win against Gu Linshan. Sometimes people had to admit that they were old. But he knew that Gu Linshan was even more ruthless than he had been when he was young. He wasn't old, and he couldn't do anything about his son. "What if I accept lowly? Will you let the Lin family off?" Gu Linshan stopped in his tracks and slowly turned around to look at Old Master Gu. "Do I need you to accept my marriage? You can be indifferent, but do you know that it was because Luo Meiwan went to look for me that this happened? Do you really think that Loli can be separated from the Gu family after marrying you? Not only can I accept Loli, but I can also accept Luo Meiwan. I think Loli would be very willing to see this, wouldn't she? Gu Linshan stood there without moving. The expression on his face was unfathomable and unreadable. If you think about it, you're not at a disadvantage. After all, after this incident, the Lin family won't dare to do anything to Loli. Now that Loli isn't hurt, you don't have to be so ruthless. Gu Linshan looked at old Master Gu sharply. If the Lin family tries anything again, I'll make them disappear. I'm a man of my word. You'd better tell them, or they won't be able to rest in peace. With that, he turned around and went upstairs. Old Master Gu heaved a sigh of relief. Gu Linshan had agreed to it. Accepting Luo Meiwan simply made his chest feel stuffy and short of breath. How could he accept Luo Meiwan willingly? But now, this was his only bargaining chip. After the doctor sent the medicine over, he wanted to apply it on Luo Loli, but Gu Linshan refused. He wanted to apply it on her himself. Even a woman couldn't do something like that. Only he could do it. When Gu Linshan was about to apply the ointment on Luo Loli, old Master Gu was shocked. Luo Loli was frightened and asked hurriedly, "Where's the doctor? Why didn't you let the doctor apply it on me?" "He left. I can't do it. Do you know how to apply it?" Gu Linshan glanced at her, his little face full of anxiety. "Don't worry, nothing can stop me." But Luo Loli wanted the doctor to apply the ointment on her. She wanted Gu Linshan to apply it and let him look at her. Could he give her anesthesia? He could even knock her out with a stick. Of course, Gu Linshan wouldn't do that. He couldn't wait to let Luo Loli feel it carefully and not miss any expression on Luo Loli's face. When she was being wiped, Luo Loli immediately covered her head with the blanket. She wanted to find a hole to hide in. "Don't cover your head. Show it," Gu Linshan demanded. "I don't want to." Luo Loli hid under the blanket and protested sullenly. Just as she finished protesting, the blanket was pulled off her head. Not only that, Gu Linshan threw the blanket on the floor. This time, Luo Loli had nothing to cover her face with. "Can't you use your hands? Let me look at your face. Otherwise, it will take longer and longer to apply the ointment. Why don't you just get it over with?" Luo Loli gritted her teeth. Gu Linshan was doing it on purpose. When it was over, Luo Loli's face and neck were completely red. Fortunately, she felt much better after applying the ointment. But she really didn't want to experience that process again. Chapter 783. At this moment, someone came to the door. She opened the door and froze when she saw the person standing outside. Old Master Gu. She invited Old Master Gu in. She didn't understand why Old Master Gu was here. That night, she received a call saying that Old Master Gu wanted to see her, so she hurried over. She thought that he wanted to change his mind, but she didn't expect him to say that he didn't have time to see her. Luo Meiwan found it strange, but she didn't say anything and left. So why was Old Master Gu here now? Did he want to chase her away? Did he want her to leave the city? "Have a seat," Old Master Gu said. Although he didn't look too good, his words didn't match his expression. This made Luo Meiwan even more uneasy. She sat down and waited. "When are you free? Come back to the Gu family for a meal with Loli." Luo Meiwan couldn't believe what she had heard. "What did you say? Go back to the Gu family for a meal? With Loli? Don't be so smug. I have no choice. It's up to you whether you want to go or not." I'll go. Luo Meiwan was even excited. She didn't expect that what she was worried about wouldn't happen, and that it would be such a great thing. How could she not be happy? She had been feeling guilty for decades, hoping that Old Master Gu would forgive her. In fact, she didn't expect anything. She just wanted to accept Luo Loli. But now, Old Master Gu was asking her to bring Loli back for a meal. What did this mean? Did he accept her and her mother? Even after Old Master Gu left, she was still in disbelief. It took her a long time to come back to her senses. Then, she hurriedly called Luoluali. Luoluali was lying on the bed, bored. Then, she heard her phone ring. Gu Linshan walked into the bedroom and handed her the phone. Luoluali looked at the unfamiliar brand new phone. What is it? Answer the phone. Luoluali took the phone curiously and answered. Hello? Who is it? Who is it? Mom? Who's calling you? You don't look at it? Luoluali didn't look at the phone because it wasn't hers. Gu Linshan asked her to pick up the call, so she did. She didn't say that she had actually lost her phone. Anyway, her mother didn't know that something had happened, so she wouldn't take the initiative to say it. Let me tell you something good. What? Do you know who came just now? Old Master Gu. Do you know what he told me? Luoluali glanced at Gu Linshan, who was by the bed, and asked, What did he say? If it had been difficult, it wouldn't have been a good thing. He asked me to bring you back for dinner whenever I have time. Go back? The Gu family? Exactly. Loli, Mommy is so happy. I'm fine with it, but as long as he accepts you, I'll do anything. Luo Meiwan cried tears of joy. Luoluali was also very surprised. Old Master Gu's hatred for Luo Meiwan could not be erased. But why would he say that now? Didn't this mean that he had accepted her? Could it be a trap? She didn't want to think that way, but she couldn't be blamed for being suspicious. After the call, Luoluali handed the phone to Gu Linshan. This is your phone. It's not mine. I lost mine. Luoluali was stunned. Youngest uncle, you bought me a phone? Yes. I knew it. It's very girly. Why are you using this phone? So he had bought it for her. Luoluali thought of something and her eyes sparkled. Youngest uncle, can you buy me another laptop? Sure. Aren't you going to ask me what I'm going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? I'm not telling you. It's a secret. Gu Linshan was speechless. Tang Bao left the company and went straight to buy books for the two babies. They were going to enter school soon. She didn't have to worry about Bao, but Xiao Bao was. She thought of Xiao Bao's coquettish and shameless behavior. It didn't resemble her when she was young. When she was young, she didn't know how to act coquettishly. She was very mischievous. Her mother even beat her 3 times a day. But she knew that all parents in the world loved their children equally. So did she. Tang Bao came out of the bookstore after buying a few books. When she looked up, she was stunned. Di Junbai. Long time no see. Di Junbai looked at her. His gaze was distant, but it was not calm enough. It was as if he could see that she couldn't calm down. Tang Bao looked at him. Many memories were in her mind. She was slightly stunned and lost in thought. They sat in a coffee shop. The aroma of coffee filled the air and seduced one's sense of smell. Di Junbai had a cup of coffee in front of him, but Tang Bao only had a cup of water. It was obvious that there was a difference between the two of them. She didn't think so in the past, but sometimes when she thought about it, it wasn't that hard to understand. I know that you went back to D City last time. I thought you couldn't recognize me. It's really hard to recognize you. But those 2 children have been following you. After thinking about it for a while, I understand. Tang Bao knew that it wasn't easy to hide this. She wouldn't abandon the 2 children. Even if she recognized her, she wouldn't panic. She could handle any situation that happened. Are you okay? Tang Bao asked. How should I put it? I've been looking for you for the past 3 years. I thought that I've protected you well, but I still overlooked something. And my father, I apologize to you. I'm sorry. But he already passed away 3 years ago. But I still feel guilty towards you. It's okay. It's all in the past. You don't have to feel guilty towards me. Someone has done something wrong and has already paid the price. I naturally won't pursue the matter for those who are unrelated. Tang Bao looked at the scenery outside. She felt like she was in a trance. Di Junbai looked at Tang Bao, sizing her up and reminiscing. You've changed. There are too many things that could have happened to me, and it's too unbelievable. There will always be changes. What I'm saying is that you're unfamiliar with me, Di Junbai corrected her. Tang Bao said, you're wrong. I'm like this to everyone. To me, I really want to draw a line with the past. It's not that I don't want to have anything to do with the past, but my state of mind has completely changed. Sometimes, even if you're facing someone, you might not be smiling in your heart even if you're smiling on the surface. Perhaps there's one thing that hasn't changed, and that is, I'm still so timid. Please don't mind. Do you feel timid towards me too? You know that I won't hurt you, Di Junbai said. Tang Bao shook her head. That's not the reason. Di Junbai saw that she didn't want to talk about it, so he didn't continue to harp on it. Then how are you and my brother? He's been staying here all this time. You should have forgiven him, right? That's right. It's always good to be together as a family. What happened in the past wasn't his fault. Tang Bao stared at the water in the cup. Chapter 784. He and I don't know. I only have work now. I don't want to think about anything else. And who knows what will happen in the future? Maybe we won't be together after some time. Since no one has the ability to predict the future, why don't we just take things as they come? Tang Bao smiled casually. It's good that you can think this way. I'm relieved as long as you're happy. Tang Bao did not want to talk about this topic anymore. He asked, You didn't come here just to see me, did you? Is there a problem? I didn't want my brother to be suspicious of you again. I stayed away from you when I was in D City, and came here on purpose. Di Junbai smiled helplessly. Indeed, he has always been like this. So, in the future, don't come here. When the time comes, I'll have to deal with him. Tang Bao said in a joking tone. Di Junbai also had a smile on his face, but he could not smile in his heart. 3 years was not a long time, but Tang Bao made him feel like he had changed. How had he changed? Oh, by the way, I might not be able to stay outside for long. You know, I have 2 children at home, especially my daughter. She's very clingy. I have to go back. Then, I won't send you off. Something will happen if you send me off. Let's go. Tang Bao picked up his briefcase and left the cafe. After getting into the car drove away. The relaxed expression on Tang Bao's face disappeared. Not to mention joking. She really did not want to find out anything about Di Junbai. She did not ask about the divorce agreement in the phone either. She just needed to do her own thing now. Tang Bao had just reached the door. Before he could key in the password, the door opened from the inside. Di Haotian's ugly face looked at her coldly. Tang Bao walked in and said, What's with your expression? She thought to herself that she could not let Di Haotian know about her meeting with Di Junbai. This man was too possessive. Where did you go? Why are you back so late? I'm going to buy some books for the 2 babies. Tang Bao took out the books he bought from his briefcase and placed them on the coffee table. Bao flipped through the books, but Xiao Bao was not very interested. Daddy, are there only books? Tang Bao pinched her face lovingly. You're going to school soon. What are you going to read if not books? And look, this is a mermaid, this is Snow White, and this is Sleeping Beauty. They are so pretty. They're not as good-looking as Daddy. Xiao Bao pouted. Di Haotian passed by. You're right. Tang Bao glared at Di Haotian. Can you not mislead a child like this? What does such a young child know about being good-looking? What if she says the same thing to other people in school? What would the other students think of her? Wouldn't he say that she was bragging? Xiao Bao, this is wrong. I'm not talking about her looks. I'm talking about her story. You should go and understand the story. It's very interesting. Xiao Bao blinked and asked Bao, Brother, is that true? Yes, that's true. All right then. Tang Bao looked at Xiao Bao's bored expression and thought that she was very similar to her in this aspect. She really didn't like to read. Di Haotian walked over again and patted Tang Bao on the head. Wash your hands and eat. Tang Bao stiffened and stood up to glare at him. He lowered his voice and said, "Can you not do such boring things in front of the children?" "Don't worry, they can't see," Di Haotian said and winked at her before he turned around. Tang Bao's expression became uneasy. "You can be so unscrupulous just because they can't see? Seriously? All right, go and wash your hands. It's time to eat." At night, when the two babies were asleep, Tang Bao was still working in the study. When the door of the study opened, Di Haotian leaned lazily against the door and looked at her. Tang Bao glanced at him. "You go to sleep first. I'll be done soon." Di Haotian did not say anything. He went forward and picked her up. "Hey! What are you doing? I haven't settled the work yet." "You're so concerned about a lousy job. Do you believe that I'll buy that company?" Tang Bao was stunned for a moment and then became angry. "Don't you dare. Next time, you'd better come to bed before 9 o'clock. Otherwise, you'll see if I dare." Tang Bao knew Di Haotian's character very well. He was completely irresistible. If he really bought the company, then she would be no different from the useless person she used to be in Kuchun. Di Haotian was always involved. She didn't want that. Tang Bao negotiated with him. "How about 9:30? No. 9:25? No. 9:20? No. 9:15? No. 9 o'clock? Okay. 9:01? Not even a second more." Tang Bao rolled his eyes. Di Haotian put her down beside him and brushed his thin lips against hers. "The way you stare at me makes me happy. Do you have masochistic tendencies? You can try." "Not interested." Tang Bao turned his face away. He was so close to her that his breath made her face hot. "I'm going to take a shower." Tang Bao got down from the bed and went to the closet to look for his pajamas. "I've already put them in the bathroom." Tang Bao's hand froze for a moment. He felt a little awkward and turned to leave the room. When he entered the bathroom, the pajamas were indeed neatly placed there. Di Haotian was actually living a comfortable life here? The bathroom here could not be compared to the bathroom in the castle. The bathroom in the castle was so big that it was the size of an apartment here. Not only was Di Haotian not picky, but he was also unwilling to leave. He was a person who did not even know how to use the public toilet. Why did he have to be so stubborn? Tang Bao took off her clothes and stood under the shower to wash off her disguise. She did not know why, but when she was under the same roof as Di Haotian, she always felt that her hearing was unusually developed. She was even more sensitive to danger. Tang Bao turned around and saw Di Haotian approaching her. The bathroom door was now as useless as the one in the castle to him. Therefore, it was said that knowing oneself and knowing one's enemy would ensure one's victory. It could be used anywhere without feeling out of place. His slender and gentle big hand touched the tattoo. Tang Bao could feel the difference between his fingers and the tenderness, and she could not ignore it. "Don't be like this. Didn't you take a shower? Get out." Tang Bao wanted to drive him away. She wanted to move forward and get away from Di Haotian's claws. However, the claws did not let her go. The strength of his hand became stronger and stronger, making her like a small prey tied to a chain. She could not break free. "I didn't take a shower." "If you didn't take a shower, why are you wearing pajamas?" Tang Bao asked in surprise. "I can't wear them if I haven't taken a shower?" Di Haotian's voice seemed to come through the water. It was so low and hoarse, but also vague. Chapter 785. I realize that your self-control in this area is really bad. Tang Bao gritted her teeth. "Why do I need to have self-control? Why not? Are other people like you? I can't help it. You're so cute. I can't control myself, and I don't want to control myself. If a man can't be moved by the woman he loves, then he either has a hidden disease or he doesn't love." Di Haotian hugged her from behind and pressed his heart against hers. Tang Bao was troubled. What should she do? She knew Di Haotian's attitude all too well. He was like a wanderer who could not get enough to eat. To be honest, compared to the past, Di Haotian was indeed a lot less now. But what did it have to do with her? She was not willing to do it in the first place. Besides, don't you like it very much too? Which eye of yours saw that I like it? Tang Bao retorted and refused to admit it. Your body is very hot. I'm taking a shower. Of course it's hot. It's warmer than the water temperature. Tang Bao's face turned red. She did not know if it was because of the hot water or because of Di Haotian's words. In short, it made her breath unsteady and her heartbeat even more frantic. Was it not because the water temperature had dropped? While she was still in a daze, her body was suddenly turned around to face Di Haotian. Tang Bao panted and then took a deep breath. When she met Di Haotian's eyes that were as dark as the night, she was stunned for a moment. Let me treat you well. Your pet has never been as gentle as you said, Tang Bao said while her breath was unsteady. Her heart was so flustered that it was about to jump out of her chest. Di Haotian's lips curled into a sexy smile. His dark eyes deepened, like the vast danger of the universe. I'm not taking a shower anymore. Let go. Tang Bao turned around and walked away. She pulled the pajamas next to her and put them on. Then, she took the hairdryer and dried her hair. As soon as she opened it, another hand took it. He turned into Di Haotian and dried her hair with a hairdryer. Di Haotian's long and slender fingers intertwined with her hair, even rubbing her scalp. Gentle movements, patient and focused eyes. Tang Bao looked up and stared at the image in the mirror. She really didn't need to do this. However, she did not have the strength to refute and could only stare blankly at Di Haotian's actions. The scene was so clear and beautiful that even she couldn't bear to destroy it. It was as if the two of them had always been like this. There was no conflict, no hurt, no pain, and no separation. Anyone who saw it would feel that kind of beauty. Her fine hair was blown up and down by the wind. It was messy but carried with it a sense of gentle care. Tang Bao would sometimes burn his scalp when he blew his hair dry. But now, he only felt comfortable. When the sound of the hairdryer stopped, Tang Bao came back to his senses. He took the hairdryer from Di Haotian's hand and put it back into the drawer. He turned around and was about to leave. Di Haotian grabbed his wrist. You're not going to say anything? What do you mean? At least say thank you. Tang Bao was not anxious. Instead, he laughed. You can't say thank you. Otherwise, you'll be insatiable. How could she not know? In the past, whenever she said thank you to him, she should have said, give her body to him. How infuriating. Do you think I'll let you off if you don't say anything? Don't do anything stupid. Tang Bao turned and ran. However, just as the bathroom door opened a crack, Di Haotian's long arm passed over her head and closed the door. It made a loud crash. Tang Bao was shocked and instinctively lowered his voice. Hey! Don't wake the children up. Do you only have children in your heart? I think I should send them to study abroad. Di Haotian thought that this was a good idea because Tang Bao could only be his. Are you kidding? Tang Bao was shocked. If 3-year-old children were sent abroad, would they still recognize their parents when they came back? You only have eyes and heart for me. I only have eyes for you now. Tang Bao really did not dare to provoke him at all. She felt that Di Haotian definitely did not just come up with this idea. What about here? Di Haotian's long and scary finger pointed directly at Tang Bao's heart. Tang Bao's body went numb. The position is crooked. It's right here. Di Haotian insisted on acting shamelessly. Tang Bao gritted his teeth. His watery eyes were misty as he stared at Di Haotian without much authority. Di Haotian's heart itched and his whole body tensed up. He arched his spine like a wild beast, ready to attack at any time. I have you, okay? Kiss my lips. Di Haotian requested. Then can you move your hand away first? Tang Bao was pressed tightly against the door, as if her acupoints had been pressed. She did not dare to move at all. Di Haotian's finger was so powerful. No. Di Haotian refused immediately. Tang Bao felt that she must have dug up someone's ancestral grave in her previous life to know someone like Di Haotian. Or she dug up the Di family's ancestral grave and made her pay the debt. Tang Bao knew that if she kissed him like this, there would be no end to it. It was very likely that she would not be able to walk back to her room. Therefore, she felt that it was better for her not to take the risk. Her brain was working. She asked, "Then can you close your eyes first? I'm a little shy." "We're already an old married couple. Why are you still shy?" Di Haotian looked at her with his deep and doting eyes. "I'm thin-skinned. Can't I do that?" Tang Bao was unhappy. "Okay, I'll close my eyes." Di Haotian closed his sharp and threatening eyes. Tang Bao's hand moved slightly as she touched the door lock. She thought that as long as she turned the door lock, opened the door, and quickly jumped out, she would succeed. However, her dream was very rich, but reality was very thin. When she just opened the door, it was still a crack, but Di Haotian closed it again. He blocked her way. Tang Bao met Di Haotian's deep and dark eyes and chuckled. "Is this your sincerity? I think we should go out and kiss." Before Tang Bao could finish her words, her small mouth was swallowed by the beast. The words that she wanted to say were stuck in her throat. Then, they were forcefully pushed forward until they fell into her stomach, and she could no longer speak. "Bao, just kissing like this makes me very happy." Di Haotian's voice was extremely low, and he seemed to be on the verge of breaking down. Tang Bao struggled. That would only make Di Haotian more difficult to deal with. She was also afraid that she would struggle too much and wake the children up. However, if she was not careful, Di Haotian would not let her go. He would still treat her like a barbarian. In the morning, Bao and Xiao Bao were already up. After they walked out of the room, Di Haotian, who was making breakfast for them, warned them, "Daddy is sleeping. Don't disturb him. Walk softly. If you wake Daddy up, I won't play with you anymore, and I won't make you a cake." Chapter 786. She hurriedly covered her mouth with her small hands, leaving only 2 rolling eyeballs. Bao's tender little face scrunched up and he asked suspiciously, "Daddy never sleeps in the morning. Did you do anything to him?" "It's precisely because he never sleeps in that he should sleep more now. Only then will he be energetic and healthy." When Tang Bao woke up, she felt as if her body had been hit by a train. She even gritted her teeth when she turned over. Lying flat, she stared blankly at the ceiling. Di Haotian was really... She didn't know how to describe him anymore. Even a beast wouldn't be as healthy and lively as him. This was her fate, and it was a fate that couldn't be changed. After 3 years of slacking off, she was overreacting now. It was really a case of dying from drought and drowning. She really felt like she had been reborn after dying and coming back to life. When Tang Bao came back to her senses, she only felt that it was very quiet around her. Why didn't she hear the 2 babies? The 2 babies would always wake up very early in the morning. She would always hear them when she was in the room. But now it was especially quiet. What time was it? Tang Bao turned to look at the time on the bedside table. It was 11:30 a.m. She was so shocked that her eyes widened. Just as she sat up in shock, the room door opened. Di Haotian walked in. "You're awake? Why didn't you wake me up? I still have to go to the office." "The office isn't running away." Tang Bao was so angry that she ignored him. She lifted the blanket and got out of bed. She frowned because of the discomfort she felt. Di Haotian put his arm around her. "Take the day off." "No, I have to go to Belle's Got Talent today to check on the filming progress." Tang Bao took out her clothes from the wardrobe and was about to change when she saw Di Haotian standing there. "Do you want to go out for a while? Is there anything on you that I haven't seen before?" Tang Bao pursed her lips. Indeed, there wasn't anything on him. But changing clothes and doing that were 2 different things. She took off her clothes, and Di Haotian stood there neatly dressed and was being stared at by her. How could this be the same? Forget it, she definitely wouldn't be able to chase this wolf away. Tang Bao turned his back to her and took off his pajamas. There were love bites all over his body. There was no need to look. The Tang Bao already knew. She wasn't in the mood to look. She just wanted to put on her clothes quickly. Although she couldn't ignore the burning gaze, she could speed up to prevent Di Haotian from getting his way. When Tang Bao began to take off his pajamas, his dark eyes had been staring at him with a deep and turbulent gaze, not letting go of a single inch of his body. The shape of her body was created by him, and it had a cute charm. Every action of putting on her clothes was irresistible to him. Just as he was about to step forward, Tang Bao's clothes covered his entire body. However, he didn't stop him from stepping forward. He hugged Tang Bao and planted a deep kiss on her neck. "You smell so good." Tang Bao turned around and pushed him away slightly. "I'm hungry." Di Haotian's eyes sparkled. "I'm hungry too. Haven't you had enough last night?" Tang Bao glared at him. "Di Haotian, don't push your luck. If you continue like this, I'll change the lock on the door. Don't come in. Didn't you think that I was already restraining myself last night?" Tang Bao looked at him in surprise. "I really couldn't tell." After saying that, he turned around and left the room without looking at him. This person probably didn't know the meaning of restraint. "Daddy! Daddy!" The two babies called out to him from the living room. "Morning," Tang Bao said. She felt awkward and laughed dryly. "Daddy, it's not early anymore. The sun is shining on our buttocks," Xiao Bao corrected. "Yes, it's not early anymore," Tang Bao said and hurried to the bathroom. She wanted to wash up. However, just as she was about to close the door, she realized that it couldn't be closed. The door seemed to have fallen off. Tang Bao was speechless. She thought of Di Haotian's scary behavior last night. "The door is broken. I'll get someone to fix it in the afternoon," Di Haotian said calmly. Tang Bao thought to herself, "Can't I see that the door is broken?" She had used the door for 3 years, and it had never had any problems. Ever since Di Haotian came, it had been broken. She even suspected that if Di Haotian continued to stay here, he might not even be able to keep the house. When they were eating, Tang Bao thought of something and asked, "Are you going back to D City today?" "I'm going back tomorrow." "That's what you said to me yesterday." Tang Bao looked at him unhappily. Di Haotian was rather calm. "Is that so? What do you mean by that?" "That's it. What's the difference between going back today and going back tomorrow? Be careful that tea doesn't close down." Tang Bao gritted her teeth. "It won't." Di Haotian was very sure. "You can come back again after you go back." Because of Tang Bao's words, Di Haotian's expression changed. He looked at Tang Bao deeply with his dark eyes, as if he wanted to swallow her whole into a black hole. Tang Bao lowered her gaze slightly. She seemed to have said something extraordinary. "Okay, I'll go back today. He-Ju will take care of the child." Sure enough, she had said something incredible. Tang Bao went to Belle's Talent in the afternoon. Dogu, Mikur, Mengshi, and Qingju were all there. "Sorry, I'm late," Tang Bao said apologetically. "How is it? Have you decided what kind of shoot to shoot?" "I'm going to shoot a few more sets of different styles for the two of them. I'll decide after I'm done," Dogu said. "I'm not in this industry. I believe in your judgment and ability." Tang Bao had no objections. Then, he looked at Dogu seriously. "It's okay. Don't feel pressured. Just treat it as a fledgling. It's good that you've done your best. Any work can only be eye-catching if it's novel," Dogu said. Tang Bao agreed. When they started shooting, the first set was a couple outfit. Everyone knew that Meng Shi and Qingju were not a couple. If they suddenly took a couple outfit and publicized it, it would be a hot search on the internet. This would also bring in good profits for the magazine. When the two of them changed into couple outfits, The camera became beautiful under Do Ji's shooting. It made people not know if this was reality or just a photo. The camera kept pressing the shutter, and they kept changing their poses. Meng Shi was handsome and affectionate, and Ching Ju was gentle and beautiful. They were like a match made in heaven. The second set was in the style of a Western cowboy with Western elements mixed in. It gave people a feeling of elegance, freedom, and wildness. In the third set, the two of them changed into men's outfits. This was very refreshing. Meng Shi was tall, and Ching Ju was half a head shorter than him. When they stood together, people felt that they were gay. The last shot was of Meng Shi lying on the ground. Ching Ju was on top, pretending to pull Meng Shi's collar. Her expression was on point, as if she wanted to teach him a lesson. It was very sexy. After shooting, Tang Bao looked at the shots. They were all very good. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.